Faceless and DC, locked and loaded and ready to get into our first game of the day. This is actually going to be very intriguing. Faceless is going to be our first port of call. We're going to be talking more about them. A roster formed in September almost entirely for this Boston qualifiers and went undefeated through the Southeast Asian qualifiers to get to this point. Now they're on stage and now it is single elim. No time, no margin for error at this point, Shiva. They have to do damage. And it feels like this is Ice and his project. Is that how it's been framed to you?
Kind of, because I believe also the team house that they stayed in was funded by Ice himself, and they have held off any sponsors that they might have gotten just to see, you know, they want to prove that they can do it here without anybody else's help. They can perform at the highest level here, but it is definitely a challenge going up against DC. I think Faceless going up against teams in Southeast Asia is just very different from getting into the international scene, and we saw them at the summit. They were able to take a game off DC in that specific series, but they are just they kind of flopped a little bit there.
Right.
Yeah, this is definitely a stronger DC as well than what we saw at Summit, but yeah, I think they have a long road coming ahead of you. Just for these two games, they have, like you say, long road, but it's like they got to get it together really quickly. Yeah. First games of the day.
Sure. Are we suggesting that there is an imbalance in skill between the two? Are you suggesting that mechanically and individually, that pound for pound, there is a mismatch?
I think it's just like team. Like DC, they have 4 players that have been together a bit longer. Ice and Black have played together. Nuts as well has played with them before. But overall, like the team dynamic, when you change them, when you have that much of a change of players and everything, it definitely influences you. And when you're playing in a completely different region, for the most part, it puts you at a different mindset.
Yeah. Birgin, you said that it was lack of confidence, according to Black, that made them not perform as well.
I mean, you know, especially if you're getting in a new team and you're trying to get it together early, if you have an early setback, how quickly can you recover faith? I mean, if you're a team that's been together for a while, you've been through the highs and lows. You're like, come on, guys, we've been here before. You know, like EG, with the lower bracket, they still don't give up. But a newer team, not newer necessarily younger players or whatever, but I mean, these guys have been around the block. I mean, Black and Ice, of course, so they've been there before. But it's about whether, as a team, you can retain that faith in each other.
Well, someone who's going to have a whole lot of faith is, of course, Nuts, a name that Shiva has already made clear as one of the influential cogs in the Faceless machine. Let's take a look at what he said with Slacks earlier.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am here with Nuts from Team Faceless. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
Doing great. That's what I like to hear, man. You're always smiling. You're always cheery. What's... Oh.
Not really.
What? Not really?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. You just confused me so much. Yeah. Okay, anyway, I want to talk to you about Team Faceless and your relationship. You were one of the guys who started the team, correct?
Yeah, together with Ice, yeah.
And you and Ice go way back. You guys are like friends for how long now?
Probably 10 years ago.
10 years?
I know him. But we have actually we didn't really form any teams before that. So we know each other friends, we join tournaments here and there, like there's small tournaments coming up. We just form an impromptu team.
Sure.
And we just play with it. We had the idea of like playing together with friends because he has ventured over to China and it's like he wanted some experience together playing with friends. And me on the other side was also coming back from Korea the other time, MVP, yeah. So we together went to play with friends, and XY was the third guy that we approached. He's a good friend of ours. He's also my neighbor in real life.
Really?
Yeah, so it's like just across the street. You know?
Easy, yeah.
Yeah, so 3 of us actually, we can communicate really well. We don't have much problem with each other, and we're all pretty skillful players, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other 2 members. Ice really actually trusted Black. That's what I felt as a carry. And we felt that C itself has quite a few potential players, and we just followed the trend of like, OG had a miracle, right? So we wanted a high MMR young guy with like all the undeveloped potential, I guess. Yeah, so after much, we actually thought Japs was the right guy for us.
And was he?
Of course he is. You saw the results from like...
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen the results. He certainly is the right guy for you. You guys have a lot of team cohesion. You've been kicking ass at this major.
Yep.
Speaking of which, you guys have been doing so well. I'd like to talk to you about the summit. You guys placed relatively low there. How did you feel that tournament went for you guys?
So basically this summit is our first LAN tournament. And we haven't really had experience together as a team on overseas LAN tournament. So that was the first. And the pressure I think plays a part. Some of us can't really perform up to standard. and teams here are much stronger. Of course, it's not that good that we got knocked out really fast. I mean, it's a learning process overall.
So you guys are ready to face off against those bigger teams. You seem like you're accepting the challenge, huh?
Yeah, of course, and it's like we are preparing over every day. We're preparing for it.
So, wanted to know about Warlock. You guys basically cursed this meta by bringing him in. Everybody runs Warlock now. You are the monsters that started it.
Jabs was drafting.
Sure.
He was like trying to find out which hero is good for each of us, and somehow we kept winning with this Warlock hero. And I'm the user for the Warlock, right? I myself wasn't sure how that hero works that well either, but we just kept winning. So after that, we just go on with it.
Yeah.
So it's easy to play. You have the engagement. You have everything.
You did. So you took it from other teams that you saw, and then you kept winning with it. That's why we're saying that you're the ones responsible for this nightmare.
All right. So we are bringing sort of, I guess.
There we go. Okay. So are you going to be sad when he gets nerfed? Because we need him to get nerfed. It's happening right after Boston.
So what is it?
Are you going to miss him? Of course he's going to get it. Come on, man. He can't be in every game.
Yeah. I think that's the last patch we'll be seeing Warlock actually.
So let's talk about LANs, as you were saying. I mean, Summit was your first one. This is your second LAN. It's the Boston Major. I mean, you guys seem to be doing pretty well with that pressure. How do you cope? How do you keep the pressure off the team?
It's looking not that good. I mean, you see from the results, we didn't actually win a game in the group stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So still trying to cope. Because it's very different. Like when you're playing online and you're playing at the comfort of your home, and it's like we're against another group of teams compared to these top teams like the best here.
Well, so you guys have an incredible online record, right? I mean, I thought it was about 70%. You corrected me. You said, no, well, way better than that, right?
Yeah.
So
I think it's like 80 or more.
There we go, 80 or more.
It's like I was checking Gosu Gamers and it says like what 15-1 for this month, and next month it's like 15-1 or so. So it's like probably 90%.
Beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
So,
but that's online. Yeah.
Right. So what are your plans? How are you gonna fix that? How are you gonna transform those amazing plays that we've seen online to dealing with that pressure here? Because that's something that all good teams need to learn how to deal with. You're gonna be at a lot more of these major things most likely. So what's your strat? What are you boys working on to make sure that you can win?
I guess it's the experience, and we just have to work together more as a team, and like we'll grow together eventually. The experience matters a lot, especially we have like since Jabs is pretty new to like big LANs. So yeah, he has a lot to learn. Like he has to get into the culture of how actually players play. As time goes by, we'll pick up all this stuff better as a team.
Good. Who's kind of like the teacher on the team? Who's the one who tries to help the other teammates?
Of course, we don't have coach and analyst all this, so Ice is actually the one putting a lot of effort to like trying to pinpoint all the mistakes and like what can be done better. Each of us individually always try to work on that too.
Maybe I'll get a little serious here, but from the way you're saying, is this it? Is this the end of Faceless at the Boston Major? Or are you guys going to do well?
Of course not. Just
there we go. All right.
Just the start, of course.
Hell yeah. Okay, cool. How do you feel about your next matchup? Be honest with me.
We are still preparing, and we kind of know their stuff, and we are still developing our strategies and practicing it. Yeah, so you guys will see.
Okay. You're gonna put up a fight, right?
Definitely.
You're gonna win it?
Definitely.
That's what I want to hear. All right, that's what a team needs, baby. Confidence. Okay. Well, that was nuts. Gotta say, absolute pleasure, man. You're a ton of fun to have, and I can't wait to interview again. This was your first interview, right?
Yeah, first good one, I guess.
Oh,
that's because I'm doing it with Slacks, so.
Oh, eat that, past interviewer. Get wrecked. All right. Thank you so much, man.
Okay.
We'll see you guys again soon.
Nuts, what a charmer. Just sweet talking Slacks, buttering him up. I like that a lot.
So sociable. He was such like
it was great.
He was like a person. Usually it's like these guys like it's very like it's hard to tell like who they really are. You could see what kind of person he was.
I don't think it's difficult to butter Slacks up as long as you don't insult him directly. He's just like so happy that someone's just being civil to him. It's like, oh, thanks. It's like, yeah, poor guy. He gets a lot of stick. I love you, Slacks.
Yes, a lot of love for him. What is that in your top pocket, Ted?
This is my Slacks defense.
Oh.
It's a no memes card. The guys that gave me this, I think, were giving them out at TI as well. If you don't have this in your pocket, Slacks
your meme
he
on
can
you.
get you. It's like you've got to cover yourself in garlic and stuff like that to prevent vampires.
Wow.
You need a no memes card.
I'm going to have to try and get myself
to
one
defend
of
yourself
them.
from Slacks. I love him, but not too close. You know.
A nice typeface choice as well. I'm a fan of that. Not a font, it's a typeface.
Okay.
Let's start talking about DC. Let's move away from Faces just for a moment. We got to take a look at, of course, Nuts and their roster. Now we have to turn our attention to the other side of the stage. Sheev, DC.
DC, the first tournament they had after TI was the Summit, so that's like 2 weeks ago, right?
Sure.
So they had a very long break, and nobody really knew what to expect. And I think at the Summit, they didn't really perform up to the standards that people were expecting them to. They lost 2-0 to OG, they lost 2-0 to Wings, and they just didn't have an amazing time.
But I mean, second place at the International FOG. This is a roster that we are going to surely be expecting huge things from here in Boston.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing that really, even though their players, of course, are incredibly strong, the thing that really carried them through TI to second place was Misery's drafting.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's kind of like what I'm looking at here. When I'm seeing them play versus Faceless, they don't look and they're like, all right, this is the strategy we're going to kind of go for this game. No, they go pick to pick and they completely counterpick the enemy team. Maybe one or two as well, saving heroes that they like, but they're not afraid to even switch the lanes up, afraid to just move stuff around a bit.
Yeah.
Saw it happen a lot at TI. They put Moo in the safe lane multiple times. They did aggro tri-lanes, kind of similar to what they did in the group stages here, doing pseudo dual aggro, etc. So that's the big thing I'm looking out for, is just Misery's drafting. If he gets on point, that's their strongest point.
So winning the game before the single creep is killed.
Not entirely,
Winning it in
but
the
almost.
draft
Yeah.
is kind of
It's a
a
big
big
one.
thing. Yeah, I think we've seen a lot of teams lose it in the draft. I think some of Complexity's performances yesterday, a lot of it was maybe that's not the best pick. I mean, you can still win from that position, absolutely. But I think the strength with DC, I mean, I love watching Moon play. Moon Meander is phenomenal offlaner. I love him as a player.
Good specimen. Good
Yeah,
little
he was. I
addition.
was talking to him one time at the Summit, and he said that he finds Dota so much slower than Hon that sometimes the plays that he makes, you can see you feel like how did you do that? But
Bullet
to him,
time.
it's it feels like it's like the Matrix. or
doing that
some
whole
shit.
thing.
Yeah.
But with a
'Cause
mouse and keyboard.
Indeed, he's a great player.
Well, talking of Moon Meander, this is a perfect opportunity for us to take a look at his interview. He did sit down with Slacks, and this is going to be a long one. Strap yourselves in, and we're going to learn a whole lot more about Moon Meander.
Hello, I am here with the one and only, the Moon Man himself, Moon Meander. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good.
Been good. Been great. So I want to talk to you guys about DC, about you. You are the new member of the squad. Does it feel like that?
It doesn't really feel like that at all. I don't know why, but I just kind of blended in very well. The members of DC are very quiet and passive, and I just came in as a talkative guy and playmaker, and it's kind of worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you think is the most quiet and passive on the team?
Definitely Saksa.
Do you ever mess with him? I mean,
Yeah, I do mess with him sometimes.
in what ways?
I see him smiling, and I'm like, Saksa, stop smiling.
Oh, that's not nice. Jesus. Poor guy. Now we know why he's so quiet. Okay. So I want to talk to you about when you first joined the team. I mean, you left OG under circumstances. Who knows? But then you joined the team, and then you don't play for 3 months, right?
Not 3 months, but
I mean, it was a long time. I think you played elimination mode, and I wouldn't call that playing. You guys kinda...
well, there were some reasons for that. First of all, we were invited to every LAN. Every LAN. We didn't have to play any qualifiers, so that's reason number one.
Sure.
Reason number two is we tried to go to Canada Cup, but we had a Syrian passport. Things didn't work out. And that's about it. We went to the Summit, right? We didn't want to go to Dream League for obvious reasons.
Sure.
So, yeah. I think that's...
I mean, yeah. Sure.
That's why we didn't come. It's not that we didn't want lazy or didn't want to play. We literally had a passport issue, so...
I mean, that's good to know. Some teams are like that. They win a big event, or they get close, as you guys did, and then they just they take a break. That's not DC?
No. We tried to go to 2 LANs at least.
Yeah.
The first LAN, and the one in China, MDL or whatever, we couldn't go because a couple of teammates were actually busy. They had commitments, so...
Oh.
Yeah. And we just formed a team anyway, so...
Okay, cool. So as the new guy on DC, I kind of want I want to know what it's like behind the scenes. What are the guys actually like? Is it a calm environment? Is it a hard-working environment? Is it a fun one? Describe what the kind of team dynamic you guys have.
I mean, it's kind of calm at times, but things do get heated, but it's not really that bad. For a lot of teams that I've played with or heard about, the cancer level of our team is kind of here. It's very low compared to other teams, you know? Yeah, there's not much grudges or hanging animosities between the teammates. And it's really nice that people can let things go. very nicely.
Sure, sure. And you're a very powerful team, too. I mean, this isn't your first rodeo. You yourself won the first major, right? Basically single-handedly, if I remember the Earthshaker. I mean, it was pretty good. But and then the rest of the team, second at TI. So how does this feel for you? Are you guys stressed out? A lot of teams are. Is this just another thing for you guys?
I mean, it was good that we lost in the summit. We got humbled,
Okay.
We're like, because in Dota 2, no one really cares about what you've done in the past. It's always about the most recent event, like TI1, TI2, TI3. No one cares anymore. People actually make fun of you, like, oh, you won this, but now you suck. So, like now TI6 is like everyone forgot about it. Everyone only remembers the last LAN events, like Summit.
Sure.
VP1, everyone's talking about VP. It's always about the most recent thing in Dota. So in that aspect, like everyone thinks we're shit right now.
Really?
Because we're like 5th in Summit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Can I ask you like an off-the-record question, dude? People always claim, they have the conspiracy theories that teams, they like dog it at events because they don't want the spotlight on it, They like purposely just don't care so that they sneak under the rug. Is that a thing? Or is that... That's not a thing.
I mean, sometimes teams do that, but players do it subconsciously.
Subconsciously?
They don't actually do it on purpose. And then when they do play it, they just like playing Dota. They're not actually making calls. They're just playing. Then I'm dead. Oh guys, they're here, guys. I'm dead. Like it's more like if you're really focused, like they come to gank me like 10 seconds. Anyone can help me. And some people just like play Dota like it's a pub. And then I had experiences like that before too. My teammates don't try to throw, but they're not trying.
Ah.
Yeah.
You seem like a kind of guy that can motivate teammates that aren't trying, though, right? You can kind of...
Sometimes it's hard to talk to people who are very strong-willed, but most of the time, I do get it through to them. Yeah.
All right, cool. So what about for this event? You guys ready for this one? Did you do a lot of practice, research?
We do a lot of practice and research, but I still feel like we have a couple things missing here and there. A couple heroes that we need to run. For example, Complexity's Leshrac.
Yeah.
I mean, they keep first doing it, and then we're like, what's up with this hero, Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird thing that they do. Do you guys have your own teams, Leshrac? Any weird heroes?
You'll see.
Ah, good one. I'll try to get you. Smart thinking. Don't reveal the strats here. So, anyway, talk to me about the major. Who are you guys really looking out for? A lot of people are saying VP, but as you said, they did just win an event. Everyone's got their eyes on them. You guys concerned about a different team?
I mean, I always like to take things one step at a time.
Sure.
I'm not really concerned about who we're gonna meet later in the bracket. This is like really cocky way of thinking. Right now, the only team I'm concerned with is Faceless because we're gonna play them straight up.
Of course.
We cannot be take it for granted that we're gonna get to the grand finals. Or look, we got an easy bracket. We should win this tournament. This is a really like cocky way of thinking. You just gotta take things one step at a time.
Okay.
Faceless first, then we see who we play.
Of course. What's the hottest Mei for Team DC right now?
The hottest Mei?
What do you guys keep spamming out over to each other to annoy each other with?
Evil Kermit.
Evil Kermit is the jam right now? All right. Well, we'll see if they have what it takes or if they will debate us all. Team DC moving on in Boston. And, we'll see if the Evil Kermit shows his face here at the Boston Major. Thank you so much.
We need that no memes card. They're bringing up Evil Kermit straight away.
I'm telling you, dude, if you don't have protection, you're going to catch a meme.
Life lessons with Ted. But that was Moon Meander. We got to hear a little bit more about his story, his adventure, and of course the newest addition to Digital Chaos, a team that are feeling a little bit like that TI6 victory, albeit not too long ago, or I say victory, second place, still feels like a...
felt like a victory, honestly.
Felt like a victory,
yeah,
exactly. But it feels like it's just already, completely brushed off. TI6 happened. Do you guys agree that that happens? It literally is the most prior event is where you take all of your kind of litmus tests from?
I think, in a way, at least from a player perspective,
for them,
maybe that's the case. You might have been the best, 5 months ago.
Sure.
But right now, this is a whole different ballgame. Even though we're still on the same patch, everybody is playing their game. Everybody has learned since then. So yeah, it's a moment taken. Like at that moment, that team was the best. But who's the best right now?
Also, when you turn up to work, Alex, do you think like yeah, I did some good work yesterday, and now I'm going to take the month off. No,
I
you
don't
got to
know.
go to work the next day, and I guess this is their job. These guys. So each tournament, you just got to go. Come on, guys, we've got to keep winning, solve problems. I mean, everybody's thinking when players move teams to, maybe they fill out. No, they just got to change things up. Something's not working, you change it.
It's a job.
No hard feelings. It's a job. Yeah,
It's a job. They are professional esports players.
Exactly.
That's it's in the name.
It's probably a little bit. It's probably like a little bit though influence, I think, still, because people are still looking at Wings, even though they haven't really done anything since TI either. So I think it's.
But I mean, it hasn't been that long, and they hadn't changed the roster. I felt like there was a lot of reasons to point towards Wings doing something, right? But back to them later. Let's bring up Moon Meander again, because he's in our featured matchup.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
It's, of course, the headline act from Faceless. I feel like we've been talking a lot about Ice Ice Ice, even when his team wasn't playing, and I'm sure you guys can explain as to why.
He is the cornerstone of the team, I feel. If he does well, everybody does well. If he does bad, nobody really gets their things done. He's the one that will help out all the lanes by being positive. He was popping up, obviously, in conversation because he's in the man's troll, but he's also a very, very good player to be around to boost morale. He's the captain of the team. I think, Fogg, you already said it, he has to do well.
Yeah,
right?
he has to do well. I mean, I was talking to them downstairs a bit. They seemed, I was like, oh, how are you guys feeling? He's like, okay. That's pretty much it. So usually he's a little bit more outward and more talkative than that. So hopefully that doesn't affect them at all bringing into this. But yeah, Ice has a massive influence onto this team. Yeah. Of course. I mean, he is the playmaker.
He is.
It does seem like you guys have framed it as such that DC are going to be one of the hardest hitters in these 4 games that we are going to be broadcasting today, which then, of course, leads us into predictions where I'm assuming Faceless are going to have a little less faith than perhaps other teams.
I'm going DC. Yeah, I think DC 2-0, honestly. I think I really like their roster, and I think that at an event they click like this, DC.
Giving it all to DC.
I would say DC as well. I actually think Faceless can take a game off of OG. They have done it before in the series they had at the Summit, and that was a game where the draft of Misery wasn't entirely on point.
Yeah.
So I feel like there might be that case where that is something that Faceless can exploit. So I still say OG though.
DC.
DC.
OG,
My bad. Wrong. Close enough.
2 for DC.
Shiva picks OG. Put that down. She picks OG.
Yeah, damn it.
No.
I'm gonna go DC as well. I think Misery's drafting prowess is very, very good. I think also the way that they not experiment, they just are willing to change things up. They don't it's not like, okay, we're always throwing Moon in the off lane. This time we're gonna throw Moon safe lane. We're gonna do a dual lane. Okay, Misery's just gonna run around this game. They have a lot of different versatility. While I think Faceless is a lot more limited than that. So yeah, I'm gonna go DC 2-0.
All right, I'll jump on the bandwagon as well.
All right.
You've explained. You convinced me.
I'm the only person with a 100% record on the desk so far. Bear that in mind. So you should stick with me.
100% record?
Yeah.
He does. Because me and Winter went Wings.
You're
he went
right.
EG. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so Ted is the mastermind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you got a tally chart on the back of that no memes card?
No, I just remember.
Oh, I don't have that memory like that.
What? Yeah.
Wonderful stuff. We can check what social media have to say because they've been doing predictions as well. It looks like Twitch are going to be giving Faceless 38-62.
Yeah, that's probably.
That sounds about right to everyone.
A little low, but yeah, it's about fair, I guess.
Yeah.
Pretty appropriate.
There you go.
That's a little bit, I would say that's a little bit too harsh on Faceless.
Nah. I think that,
Nah.
DC.
Twitter
DC,
fans of DC and for good reason as well. We actually get Facebook as well, 80-20. Nice little cut there. But you guys can make sure you're casting your votes because it's great to see exactly what the general consensus is across the community. And we are almost ready for that draft phase. And I do want to kind of come back to a couple of points that were made in that interview prior to the draft coming up. One of the things that was said by Nuts actually in his interview to Slacks was we're still doing our preparation. Not forgetting there was 2 days, 2 days to prepare.
Yes.
And so, taking that player's perspective as best I can, Fogged, how much of an influence can that preparation have? I mean, you said already you like that draft. Surely that's something you could look into.
I mean, it can definitely have an influence, but like I kind of mentioned, DC is an extremely versatile team. They change it up from game to game depending on what they're playing against. So I think it will obviously make an impact, but yeah, I think DC is just overall is a bit stronger. So it'll help, but not as much as maybe they wanted to. Not as much as they wanted to.
That's a great show.
What's going on?
Something did not appeal to him at all. Maybe he's listening to us and he's like, I got this nasty taste in my mouth after all that. Listen to them.
What's wrong? What have you got in your mouth? Oh man.
As far as 2 days of preparation go, DC, they played on. They have actually 3 days of preparation.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
They played on the Saturday. DC has 2 coaches. They have Blitz and Bullbind, so in terms of mindset, they're set. In terms of, overall strategy and different things they can try out and pull out here, they're set. And I feel like that might be the biggest difference. If Ted, you mentioned the confidence, I bring it up again because that is so important if you're playing on the big stage, especially for a player like Jabs who is fairly new for the big stage. You need the coaches to maybe to calm you down, to give you confidence, and coaches can do that. Obviously, experienced players can do that too, but maybe to a lesser extent because they're more focused on the game as a whole. So I think that might make a big difference if you have got a break in between group stages and main event.
I've asked a few of the coaches what it is exactly that they do, other than just sort of providing advice and helping them to analyze games and stuff. And the main thing is just managing the personalities and just being there to basically be like an agony aunt. If you've got a problem, you don't want to go to your teammate. You need someone else, someone that's been around, knows everybody, and can help you out and stuff.
An adjudicator. I always feel like that's kind of what they are,
that's a good way of putting it, I think.
What?
Yeah. An adjudicator.
I like that.
Like a
That's
judge,
a good one.
yeah. So Shadow Demon has somehow stumbled yet again into the bloody
6
draw.
wins, 6 out of 6.
It's
right?
100% pick and ban, I think.
I was hoping that these 2 teams, they actually did not play Shadow Demon in their entire group stages. We had some Shadow Demon banned in the Digital Chaos series, but Faceless in their series, all their series, they completely ignored it. Not banned, not picked, but nonetheless,
So are we expecting a Luna then to follow this, as it has been the recurring trend, it seems?
Yeah, I think DC will take it here. Unless they want to go for some more, like, just straight up, they're trying to deal with Luna, learn a way to, or deal with the Shadow Demon Luna, just learn a way to play, maybe pick some more, just AoE, some more ways to push it out and clear the illusions. The bans, though, taking a look at those really quickly, yeah, they do take the Luna.
Yeah.
Faceless goes for the Bat Rider and King. Sand King was Moon Meander's like super powerful hero in the group stages, not to see that. Not surprising to see that one. Bat Rider, that's pretty much everyone bans it. The Nyx Assassin, the DC bans, that's obviously, Ice, we've talked about it multiple times. That's his strongest hero pretty much in this patch, so that makes a lot of sense.
Just taking it away from him.
Just take Ice heroes. We mentioned he is a big factor in their gameplay, so if you just maybe handicap him a little bit, if you can do that in the draft.
And Timber as well, right? Like Timber is like
Timber is also one of his stronger heroes, for sure. And I wonder if because of that, do you feel like they might pick up Ice's hero fairly early on in the draft because they don't want to limit their options?
They already had lost a bunch of different heroes.
Yeah.
He's played like the Clockwork a few times and stuff like that, and the Slardar. Maybe the Slardar is the one that we'll be seeing coming out.
He played Omni Knight as well. Omni Knight is the only hero that is still in the pool that he has played in the group stages. Other than that, he played Nyx, Timber, and
Tide.
Ted, why are you so repelled?
I mean, the thing is, I always feel like if you've got a player like Ice, ideally you want to get him on a hero that's going to be able to make plays and things.
Yeah.
I mean, Tidehunter's very solid.
It's a great hero.
He's literally. I know you love him, Sheebs, but I mean, if we're looking for a Shiva Ravages, Ice is obviously he's going to be landing the Ice Ravages. So
I hope so for him.
He will, I'm sure.
You love Tidehunter that much?
I'm great with hitting Ravages.
You're
zoning
famously.
Ravages.
God, you're practically gushing.
Yeah.
Way, that's nice.
That
one was pretty good. I'll give you that one.
So it's like he's a you don't need to do much as Tide. He's like pretty simple hero. It doesn't die much. You sort of time your Ravages. Obviously, that's important. But that's it. I always like to see Ice on a playmaking kind of hero, not just a press and R kind of hero. But we'll see.
Yeah, and Tide also, his cooldown is very long, so he can't fight all the time. He has to actually hold back for a while.
So it means that Ice isn't going to be their big playmaker this time, though.
Yeah.
That's a big indicator, at least for what Faceless is trying to do. They want to be going for some more team fight, heavy just ball up and go for a push, or ball up and just go for a different type of timing. While DC, obviously, they have the Luna, they have the Rubik, 2 very, set-in-stone heroes that we've been seeing pretty much every single game, I want to say. And Rubik overall versus Tidehunter. Tide can kind of force stuff in the lane. Of course, Luna has the Lunar Blessing aura, but if he does get the Anchor Smash on him, it reduces quite a good amount of damage if he wants to just be a nuisance. Of course, maybe they'll do like some dual lane to emphasize that. But yeah, Rubik as well versus Tide can be good, though. Obviously, you can steal Ravage, so if he's not super keen on covering that, it can be. As we saw
famously when I showed you the play, Alex,
the play.
Remember?
That turnaround.
If you watch the ultra slowed down version, you can see that Tide was just a few animation frames from Anchor Smashing.
It was so close.
It was ridiculous, but it's hard, really hard to steal Ravage, honestly, but it's possible.
Until you get, like, if you have Blink Dagger, if you have Aghanims, obviously Aghanims increases the range, Aether Lens as well increases the range from Steel, so you have easier ways to try to do that, but that's obviously later down.
That was so much fun, Ted, just going through all of the absurd plays of Dota.
Yeah, I know. They're super hyped, dude. I think also maybe having the Rubik, you can steal disruption.
Yes.
And that's kind of a pretty good way to try and counter the illusions, especially if you
And
steal
get
disruption,
and get
you
your
have a
own
Luna.
Yes.
So it's
a really
like
good
double
point.
whammy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it. Now, what is FaZe going to do to stop that? Because Luna, we've seen a lot of Luna already. You know kind of what to expect. Surely by now, you know, it's been a day. You got a plan for it. Right?
Well,
That's what you hope.
yeah,
That's what
definitely.
FaZe
They
is.
have some. I mean, the Shadow Demon kind of in a way is an okay plan, obviously, to be able to get your own illusions for it. But yeah, okay. They banned out the Ursa. This is one of Weeha's more famous heroes currently. They played it even versus like lineups where it didn't even seem like the Ursa fit. But versus Tidehunter, of course, it's very strong because you don't lose your Fury Swipe stacks from his Kraken Shell, and you do lots of damage if you get a couple stacks on him. And yeah.
I'd love to know your thoughts on the Medusa ban as well. Medusa's been banned out by DC. Like that one, does that make sense to you, or does that just feel
It's just a
a
dickhead
little bit
hero.
of- just a bit of a question mark?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's just like high ground defense, turtling up, taking it late.
Just you're irritating. Go away.
And Drow Ranger is still in the pool, so they could have gone for both. FaZe has played a lot of Drow Ranger, Medusa lineups where you got Jabs playing the Medusa and Black playing the Drow, and then they just it's very strong. It's very annoying to fight into. Let's put it that way.
This is usually where DC likes to pick up their off lane, especially since Ice already showed his. Okay, as I said,
Invoke?
they go for Invoker instead. All right, well.
Someone likes that pick. I heard someone shout, "Yes!"
Well, it's a Weeha Invoker, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like
Something of legend that he is one of the best in the world
some
for
of his
sure.
TI performances were,
Legendary.
yeah.
It like also works with the draft in a way too, with the Luna, of course, getting that like push timing thing, heavy physical and magical damage.
You can get Sunstrikes off of telekinesis as well from the Rubik.
Yeah.
It's maybe not as solid as a disruption, but hey, you can steal disruption if you still want to do that. But if with the right amount of communication, and we're going to assume that they have that, they got that sorted out as well. So a lot of early game kill potential just by that with that pickup.
It strengthens, yeah, it definitely strengthens the other lanes because like Rubik Luna can be okay versus Tide. Tide will definitely get something out of it, but maybe with a Sunstrike on top, since Lucent Beam's stun was increased, so you have like the lift into the Lucent Beam, you have easier setup for that Sunstrike. So it definitely does change that. So okay, so it does look like they're going to be going for like a timing window push with like mech on Tidehunter, maybe going for Chen Aghanims or something like that, and just be able to push out the lanes.
Chen's quite a rarity though in the draft. We haven't seen. I think we've seen one or two Chen bans, and that's been about it.
Yeah, during the summit, he seemed like he came back a little bit, I feel. We had a couple of Virtus Pro Chens as well, so kind of when Virtus Pro plays it, they make everything look amazing.
Is it
like,
Lil
oh my
that
God.
plays Chen?
Yes,
Because
it
we saw them do that, I think, in the qualifiers as well. We watched them. I think the thing with Chen is if you have a good Chen player, it's great. But you don't see it picked up much because I don't think that many teams really play Chen, honestly.
It's like a good combo though. Of course, like Shadow Demon Chen is something we used to see a lot. The dual roaming potential for them to be able to like Invoker does not really have any type of potential to save himself early on in the game, so they do have that excellent dual roam. We also see like talking about VP, since they're probably the ones that's picked Chen the most. They like doing this approach where they force their off lane to get experience. The Chen just comes down there with the creep, bullies out the supports a bit, and forces the offlaner to get something.
Do you think you maybe take Ogre here just to sit with the Invoker? He's still in the pool.
It actually, Ogre fits fine.
It's a
Why
good
not?
point. It's been such a commonplace presence.
they
in
go
the
with
draft.
Undying.
Okay. Gives him more team fight, more early game potential, and Mizzer's played it a few times here. He's been playing a little bit of a different hero pool than what we're used to seeing.
This guy.
God, the excitement is just radiating
Is it
through the
is it
theatre.
cold in the arena? I didn't think so.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey.
Welcome.
That reaction though.
Yeah.
It's not every day you get woken up by a crowd and, and the internet.
It gives you an applause when you wake up.
a crowd waking you up with an applause. Beautiful. Love that.
The Undying also gives DC a bit of sustain. Obviously, with like Luna, you usually want like one hero that can kind of just heal you up a bit to be able to do your pushes in a better manner. So it gives you that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, maybe they'll do for like I mentioned before, like the dual lanes, like they've been liking to do.
Yeah.
They could do like Undying +1 for Moon, and then doing the Rubik Luna short lane. But at the same time, they also like to switch the lanes, like I said. So they could throw the Luna in the off lane with like two supports and go for some type of aggro potential, since there is a Chen.
Yeah, is this something you were like you're looking forward to? You said Misery's drafting is fun because you don't know where things are going.
Yeah.
Have you got what you asked for? Has this been an enjoyable draft phase so far? I mean,
Yeah, definitely. I didn't think that they'd pick the Invoker so soon. They're really saving Moon's hero for last.
whatever it's going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, last time they picked the Undying, they had the Sand King with it for the dual lane,
Yes.
I believe. So that is already removed. So it's gonna be a new one. And in terms of heroes that go well with Undying, there's actually a lot. You can go very diverse with it.
Yeah, Darkseer is like one of the ones, most of the ones that come to mind.
It's a stable one, but you can go Spirit Breaker if you really want. You can,
Yeah.
you know, you can go.
They
Can I-
haven't
can
got
I
any jump at the
Necrophones?
moment. They really don't have much jump. Until you
Yeah.
get like a blink on the Rubik or something, I guess. But
Yeah, there's still the Slardar option still there for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Darkseer, those two. The Darkseer gives them like the mech timing window, so if they want to go for something like that and able to like deal with Faceless's massive push lineup, which they're obviously going for with that DK pickup,
that way they'd
Or
have
they
like
could go
mech
for
and
Slardar.
Soul Rip as well.
Yeah.
And, yeah, have a bit of sustain.
increase
but-
sustain
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. They even
Although
ban
the-
out the Slark now too.
Yeah. I do
Goodbye,
like the
Slark.
Slardar with the amplified damage and the Dragonite as well. It makes them a bit more easier to chew through.
I think the Slark ban, it's like something that Faceless was doing a lot, at least in the SCA qualifiers. They were doing like, they picked like 4 of their standard heroes and then they would just pick a Slark and they're like, okay, we have this at least backup resort if the game gets to like a later stage, which we don't really want to, but we can. Not the most needed that they want, but yeah, it could be a potential.
I wonder if they
I
would
think the
even take
Darkseer would be happening.
Earthshaker. If they're looking into a big push, I wonder if Earthshaker would be a thing. I've seen Moon play it before.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not in
True.
quite a while, but yeah, Moon has a pretty
He
legendary
has a
shaker.
very good shaker,
Yeah.
and if you've got a Chen army and you've got illusions and everything. Actually, illusions. I don't know if they trigger echo. But I can't remember. Purge would know.
They do.
That's why Purge should be on the panel.
do.
Fire
They
Pyrian.
do. They do.
Corpses and illusions do.
Corpses.
Not snowing in Boston.
I'm sure
Dead
you
bodies.
mean
Like dead things.
things
They,
that are
they
in
do the
Lino.
echo. Yeah, they do like the echo return as well.
That's confusing.
Yeah.
I heard there was supposed to be snow in Boston, by the way.
It
We-
snowed
we- I
a
was
few
prob-
days ago.
I
It's
didn't
just
see it.
roof snow. Whoa! What's happened to the crowd? Oh, I see. We're looking through
Okay.
something. Okay.
So they go for another like push hero that can work well with their team too,
Oh.
Terrorblade, and it gives them that late game type potential.
Terrorblade.
I'm
And
telling you.
also, what is it? An illusion spammer with Shadow
Yep,
Demon.
Yeah.
Yep,
So not only
nice.
do they have the Luna on the other team, they have their own Terrorblade on top
Damn,
of that.
This
And
is a
I like the draft. It's a
good
good one.
lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see what DC can do. I'm telling you, man, Earthshaker. Oh,
Okay.
Legion,
Legion
okay.
Commander.
That's-
See.
I think that's a really interesting approach toward the Shadow Demon as well as toward the Terrorblade, being able to spam him out in laning phase. Undying Legion Commander versus Terrorblade, like if you get hit by 2 or 3 decays and you get hit by an overwhelming odds, you might just die and not even expect
Yeah.
it. So I think that's gonna be a bit of a hard lane for the Terrorblade if they don't keep the Chen there and helping him out.
I'm excited. You like the draft then, Ted? You thinking Faceless could put up a bit of a fight?
Yeah, no, Faceless' draft is good. Yeah, it's a solid,
Yeah.
it's a pretty obvious strat, but it's hard to beat. So it's going to be a close one, but DC, come on, DC.
Yeah, we're giving DC the edge, there's
Yeah.
no doubt about it. It hasn't been easy for Faceless so far in this tournament. In fact, they've played over just over 2 hours of Dota, not picking up a single game yet. 0-2 in the group stage, and now they stand on single elimination. DC stand against them, and it is time for their first game. To guide you through the action, it's going to be the voices of Winter and LD. Enjoy.
Well, Winter, not a whole lot of surprises for one man as far as that draft goes as we get ready for our opening match of the day, DC versus Faceless. As soon as you saw the Chen pick, you said Dragonite, you said Terrorblade. They went for both. If you can read them that well, do you think DC saw this coming too?
Yeah, probably. It's a very straightforward like push strat. I was kind of a bit of tossing up Morphling or Terrorblade because I know Black likes to play Morphling, but they went for the push at the end of the day. So you're going to be able to apply more pressure against the enemy team. But DC went for a great last pick though. LC is very good against Terrorblade and is also very good at initiating on the Tidehunter.
Well, we might be quite far away from Southeast Asia, but a decent Faceless contingent here, I have to say, on more of DC's home turf, I guess you would expect. So nice to see the fans here bright and early in Boston. We get underway. Opening match of the day. As usual, it will be an elimination best of 3. Overall thoughts on the series. Faceless has looked very shaky coming in. There was a lot of hype about this team after their performance in some online Southeast Asia matches, but ever since they came to the Summit 6, they seem to really be struggling.
Dude, it's all your
Did
fault.
we slip something in their food?
It's all your fault, your event, you know. You made them swap their roles, X, Y, and Nuts now.
The fix is in, Winter.
One is on, it was XY playing the 4 role before at your event, and now he's playing the 5 role. And
Well-
Nuts will be on the Chen.
I will say one of their ways to relax was, a little CSGO, and perhaps the results in there had some influence on the role swap.
Oh, sure, you're blaming it on CSGO
Black was
now.
louder. Black was louder in their CS than he was in the Dota.
But
I'll
first
say that
rune,
much.
DC have the Undying, so they have the control of the runes, and they're going to snag themselves to both the runes here. Good play by DC using the Undying pick to just secure the other rune.
And that early bully action. So, looking at the lanes, we are going to see Nuts. It looks like heading back to his own jungle for the time being. Does have an early smoke picked up, helping a bit with the mid block. But thoughts on the Chen pick this game, the way DC is playing against it? They have not actually blocked his camps. They did get a ward down to scout his movements, though.
Yep, I was going to go to that. So basically, because they didn't block off the camps, but they have a ward here, they're going to be able to scout out the Chen if he moves. But the thing is, there's only one ward on the left side. Top lane, maybe we might see action here. Misery running in from the side.
Yeah, Moon Meander playing rather aggressively with the statue, but has the help of Misery, as you mentioned. So we'll see if Nuts wants to make any kind of early movements. For now, all his progression through the jungle being scouted, so they know he's in the neighborhood. Yeah, it's not really the easiest lane to gank. They are quite tanky.
He needs to decide whether he wants to help the top lane or the bottom lane. Like he needs to make a move. You can't play that passive farming Chen.
Meanwhile, Ice is getting bullied here in the bottom lane, even with the 1-point in Kraken Shell. Already forced to salve up.
Yep, and the lane is pushing for him though, so this is not that great. He needs to be able to hit level 3 for him to stay in the lane very well. And top lane, the Chen is moving in with the Shadow Demon Disruption to start.
Let's see if they're going to make that jump. Black has not taken a skill point yet. Could go into the Metamorph.
He could also go for the Reflection if he feels that they need a slow to set up. But I think overall, look, it really has to rely on what Nuts gets on his Chen. Like, he needs very good creeps for this gank to work.
Yeah, for now, just the War of Attrition. The Harpy Stormcrafter, probably the most annoying creep right now for constant harass along with the Satyr Blast.
Right. The Chen needs to get a kill for his team soon. Look, if you look at the CS across the board, this is really, really bad for FL. Like, faceless lanes are not going too well.
The one lane that is going well, Jab's having a very good time on the Dragon Knight, already 10-3, and Weehaw only 4-3, but generally those early levels for Invoker Winter, that's where he tends to struggle a bit.
And by the way, dude, I've been watching a lot of games where players are doing really well on DK. Even yesterday there was a game, DK versus Timbersaw. You should have a bad time in that matchup, but still, players are getting better at using that Breathe Fire, to get more last hit and make it very difficult for the opponent to get last hits in the laning phase. So.
Yeah, the damage reduction, 35% at all levels, so even that early single point can make a big difference.
But still, like you say, Invoker is weaker at the first few levels. Eventually, he's going to catch up, being able to farm the jungle. But the main concern for Faceless is the top lane and bottom lane.
No one expects the early Tide Hunter. Courier snipe. He's got 10 seconds here to kill it off. It's going to walk right into his waiting arms. Ice, one more swing. He'll bring it down, snipes the Courier, and gets Faceless on the board. Their Ward Winter is designed to keep eyes on the Ancients, but as a result, they did not see this movement.
Yep, this is a pretty good ward, honestly, for Tide, because you want to see him scouting. Unfortunately, it doesn't scout him picking up that rune, and their supports didn't really scout out the rune before as well, so there was not much Weehaw could have done about it without the information. Top lane, going in with Disruption.
Well, Metamorph is available, a little Hadouken, but Moon Meander very fast with the overwhelming odds. Not an easy kill lane, and the other thing is they can't easily push in either.
Like if you go on the LC, he's gonna be healed up by Misery on the Undying with the Soul Rip, so it's very difficult to kill. And Undying with the decay stacks on him is also not an easy target. Like I feel like the Chen should be trying to help elsewhere. Maybe the bottom lane to start off would be a good choice for him. But right now he's not accomplishing much. In throughout the lanes, all their lanes are not going too well. Terrorblade is not free farming. That is a huge problem for the hero.
Yeah, and in the mid lane, Weehaw is catching up now as he gets the third point in Exhort. Last hitting gets easier. Aquila now complete. All of a sudden, he's hitting for about 100 a pop with every auto attack.
I mean, despite the fact that Invoker has a weaker first few levels, but I think the main reason DC picked up the Invoker is to have that Sunstrike threat, Like maybe without the Sunstrike threat, Ice at the bottom lane, he's allowed to play more aggressively, run up and try to harass. But because there's Sunstrike on the field, he feels the need to be much more passive on the lane.
And bear in mind, they have great setup for Sunstrike this game. The lift, the Lucent Beam just to give someone a bit of extra lockdown, and then the duel most importantly. So they have plenty of ways to find kills. And along with that, Moon Meander, he is getting his levels in the off lane, already 4 in the duel lane.
He's getting more than levels, very, very good farm as well. On
17 CS.
Right
that is a lot for an off-lane
Legion. The Tide has to get an Iron Talent. Okay, he has an Iron Talent now.
He has stepped up a little bit. Moon Meander a bit too far, and now the clap going to come through after the disruption. They even commit the Metamorph, but Moon Meander very tanky with the poor man's shield. I don't even think they can bring him down, only to half health. He ran into all 3. And not even close to going down there.
Poor man shield plus press the attack there. Misery not in the lane, but they still couldn't really kill him. That is huge problems for the Chen. 5 minutes into the game, the Chen has not accomplished anything apart from right now trying to push the tower.
On the
Ice.
other side, you've got DC aggressively
Sunstrike.
trying to push down the tier 1 bottom. Tombstone gets dropped. They don't even need the Sunstrike. DC going to find an easy kill there. Weehaw just continue to farm it up mid. Now Jabs can look to apply a little bit of counter pressure. He's chipping away at this tower.
This is really, really bad for Faceless. They used their Metamorphosis. They didn't get a kill. They couldn't pressure the tower because LC is able to have a good amount of deep push with his overwhelming odds. This is not looking good for Faceless at all in the lane. Oh, Ice is getting lifted.
Just TP's back in. They do have a very high level Lucent Beam, already level 3. It's about a third of Ice's health. It feels like
Sunstrike. Where's the
Sunstrike could
Sunstrike?
finish it off. They do maintain vision on him for now.
He's not trying for the Sunstrike, but meanwhile,
Not yet. You gotta think he's gonna give it a shot.
they TP'd Jabs in on the Dragonite and didn't really get any
Ice
kill.
is so worried about the Sunstrike.
Oh, is it coming?
He's
Sunstrike?
still juking around. Finally gonna limber back while Misery looks to maybe get eyes on him, go for that K kill.
I was quite surprised they did not actually land the Sunstrike earlier. With the lift and the short stun from the Lucent Beam, that should give them more than enough time to land the Sunstrike. But
They're seeing if he's being greedy.
low, they're scanning.
Then you Sunstrike.
Yeah, that's a good point. They probably could have scanned right around the base and land the Sunstrike.
Either way, they don't need that kill. I mean, I think that's the real point here. DC, they've shut down the early Chen Shadow Demon push, so now Faceless, I don't know if you would call it Plan B Winter, but they're not getting that early tier 1 that they normally look for. Where do they go from here? What's the next big timing that they can look forward to, or do they even have one in the near future?
The next Dragonite ulti, they have to use it with a smoke gank from one of the supports or the Tide Ravage, but Tide Sunstrike, I hear a Sunstrike.
Moon Meander almost at duel. He ran right into black. He was still level 5. Now he has it, so the next time he runs in, that could be an easy kill.
But still, like, considering everything that happened, despite not getting that kill on the Tide, DC are in great shape right now, and they will be the first ones making the move with Luna Ultimate. So Faceless, I said, they need
Faceless making a move of their own, though. Onto the top lane, they're going to find Moon Meander. Disruption comes through. Black does have access to Sunder. Not going to need to use it. The chain stun from the Centaurs comes out. Actually will Sunder in the end, but kill secured. Faceless grab an important one.
Jabs might be caught out here.
Resolution does have that nighttime vision, but
he's moving to join his team at top lane to secure the tower.
And in doing so, he will dodge the gank Saxo was looking for.
But still, DC, if DC can actually get a trade-off here, 1-for-1 tower, that would be super good for them, like very ideal.
There is a glyph available for both teams.
They're sending Saxo up top to slow the push with his Fate Bolt, and the rest of the team is allocated mid to secure the tower. They have 2 heroes here to de-push, the LC plus the Rubik, and XY is looking for initiation to stop them from trying to drag the creep wave away.
Well, Glyph now committed as Jabs is going to rotate. They don't have the Ravage yet on Ice, unfortunately. Did struggle a bit in the off
tower
lane.
deny. Can I get it?
No!
Gosh!
No such luck. Even with 2 heroes there in tandem, unable to do so.
That was huge, Gorman. That was absolutely huge for DC right there, getting that kill on the tower. Faceless
That means a faster Midas here for Weehaw.
Faceless really not getting a break at all, but at the very least, they got the last hit on the tower at top. XY got the last hit. And they're going to smoke up. They have to get a kill somewhere. They need to keep the pressure on. Like, DC is getting way too much out of the early game.
Now you can already see that the Terrorblade Illusion is not going to be that effective in at least the early to mid game against this Legion commander.
They have a very good heroes to clear out the illusions.
And late game, you've got the Glaives. The Fate Bolt even, quite irritating. So Faceless do group up, try to shove in this mid lane a little bit.
They do have their Ravage up, so if they want to fight around the Ravage, that's possible for them right now. They need to secure as many towers as they can with their big cooldowns. The Ravage and the Metamorphosis are really, really big cooldowns for Faceless, so every time they pop it, they have to get a tower, they have to get objectives like Roshan or win a team fight. And DC not going to let that happen too easily. They're going to defend the mid lane.
Looking for the duel in the mid lane, but the Dragon Tail interrupting Moon Meander's movement forward as XY tries to find a setup. He does jump onto Misery. No Demonic Purge just yet. They able to convert that into a kill, but all the while DC, they already took down the tier 1 top, so that makes now all 3 outer towers down for Faceless. Meanwhile, DC only lost 1.
This is bad. They have the Chen and the Dragonite. This should be the other way around. They should be taking the towers and defending their towers. But Jab's going to get his rune snapped away by
They do find Moon Meander. They're ready here, prepping with the Sentry. They'll drop it down, but Moon, quite tanky. and they just can't bring him down. He's going to heal himself back up with the press the attack, and we'll be able to walk away. Faceless again being denied. The Dire Courier, meanwhile, getting sniped.
Wow, that was a lot of gold inside.
And it had the Helm of Iron Will on it.
Oh my god.
Just nothing really going their way since that early Ice Courier snipe. It's been
that was even
quietly but thoroughly all DC all the way.
That was such a bonus. You can't really expect that to happen. And apart from, I think the reason why everything was bad for FL in the early game was because the Chen hasn't, made a lot of ganks happen. He moved to top lane, but like I mentioned, top lane was a very difficult lane for him to kill.
And they couldn't push either, so he just didn't really get anything done.
Yep, that's why I suggested. Probably going to the off lane would be like how Na'Vi plays their Chen. You go to the off, you grab a creep, you go to the off lane, you help the off laner right away. What he did this game was he grabbed a creep and he went to his safe lane.
There's also more gank paths there, more ways to flank behind the tower.
You could pressure the mid as well if you're doing that. That's the beauty of going to the off lane first. But right now,
it was a Quas Exort Invoker who didn't really have any help, so he's pretty gankable at those early levels. But that is all behind Faceless now as DC find themselves on the offensive. They have a stolen Dragon Tail to combine with the lift. Sox a very long lockdown, and expecting some ancient shenanigans from Faceless. Not the case just yet, but they move in. Dire Scan just barely clipping Moon as he squirmed through.
Go down here.
Ice. I'm not sure he was paying attention. He stuck around, and now the Lucent Beam going to hit him. He will commit the Ravage. Is he going to TP out, or does his team try to come and fight way too far away?
He's still dead.
Into the tree, so good. Ravage down.
That was a bad Ravage there.
And a Sunstrike will mark not only the kill, but also the 280th duel victory for Moon Meander.
He was at the same time trying to make sure that Rubik doesn't steal his Ravage, so he had to spend like half a second to cast that anchor, so it didn't give him a lot of time to try and get away with from the LC.
Well, or you could just not Ravage.
I mean, he was like, I don't want to give him dual damage. Oh god, we had denied the tower.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Two trains crossing paths in the night here, but it seems the Faceless one about to get derailed. They'll send home jabs. Armlet is coming. Nuts nowhere near a mech, it looks like.
I mean, going back to how Faceless is going to be able to... Oh, Eclipse bottom lane.
Not done just yet. Ice trying to shimmy away, and he will survive, so at least the Eclipse committed. Sunstrike, though, looking for the kill. Won't find it. But if they want a 5-man Winter, it's not going to be too easy. They don't have a mech on Nuts. He's still not level 6 at 13 minutes as a Chen.
They have to rely on their big... Oh, Ice. Well, he's toying with them, He's really toying with them. But Faceless has to, group up and use their big cooldowns. They have to get themselves back into the game through using their big abilities to get objectives, win a team fight. But Moon Meander here trying to get a duel. Oh, he's going to get it!
Oh, he finds jabs too, and this is without the armlet. Easy takedown. Duel number 2. Another winner for Moon.
Such good movement here by DC moving around the map. The only criticism I can have for them is not using the Sunstrike with the Rubik lifts earlier, but they are using it really well with the LC duel. Securing him another duel victory right there, and another tower against the Chen Terrorblade lineup. This is what you do not want to happen if you're Faceless. You should be the ones pushing the tower. You want to be the ones pushing the towers.
And on top of not only taking that tower, DC now going to take over the stack of Faceless, using the Forge Spirits here in tandem with Resolution. God. They're going to steal the whole stack, Winter. Tombstone gets dropped on the high ground. Faceless, how do they even move in? There's no Ravage ready. The Ancient's quickly being brought down, and Moon threatening to come back in. He's going to have a duel soon. Sunstrike at the ready. They get the lift off onto Ice. Nearly dead just from that. Continues to be forced back. They can send him home, and in the meanwhile, Sunstrike coming in. There's the disruption to save him. Should by the time he needs to get away. He will go poof, but the Ancient's already cleaned up. Can they turn this? Oxalo, not dead just yet. Has stolen the Test of Faith, tries to make it out. Looks like he'll survive. The trade, though, is Misery on the Undying, so they lose the Undying. Tombstone now down, and DC definitely going to want to retreat here.
Yep, if only they had Eclipse on Resolution, they would have definitely taken that fight. But still on cooldown for 30 seconds, so that allows Faceless to be able to win that fight, even though they didn't really have Ravage up yet. They just got it up, so we'll see what Faceless decides to do with their cooldowns right now. They are trying to get Roshan.
Yeah, Eclipse down for a little bit longer, I suppose, and Undying just respawning.
They have a DD on Jabs.
And with the armlet, this is a lot of bonus damage for him, hitting nearly 300 per auto attack. Black committing to the Metamorph here. They're going to go for the Roche. Looks like so far, no sign of a contest from DC. They're just pushing out the other lanes, but already BOT's up on Weeha. You've got Resolution farming very well.
Just look at what Daryl's doing. His team is doing Roshan. He's all by himself in the bottom lane.
Well, is he though? Or our friends just around the corner?
He was alone just now. there were no friends in sight. But because he was playing so aggressively, DC were like, oh, they might be around him. But then again, it's ice, so you never know.
Or maybe he'll just be alone and ravage your whole team and try to run away.
If you see someone like Burning farming like this, you know he has backup. But if you see someone like Ice doing that, you're like, is he actually alone? Or maybe not.
Mind games.
Yeah, the mind games that's allowing his team to, even though DC weren't really going there to, contest the Roche, but it was still good play by the offlaner to make sure that the enemy doesn't know what your team is actually doing. Are they behind you? Are they doing something else? You keep them guessing. So it allows his team to safely secure the Roshan.
So Winter, boost in momentum here for Faceless. They're still down about 5,000 gold, 3,000 experience, and I think it's about time we start talking about how the teams match up heading into the mid and the late game. How do you feel Faceless can fare, given they're obviously not hitting the early push timing they wanted? Do they have a plan B?
They have pretty good late game with the disrupt on the Terrorblade illusions. DK somewhat decent late game, and I think Tidehunter is great late game because of the fact that when the BKBs go down to 5 seconds and you hit their refresher timing, Tide will be extremely strong. But, Misery is going to get initiated here by jabs on the stun. Gush followed up by Ice. He has
very
the mech
tanky though.
Yes, mech, so that is not an easy kill at all for Faceless.
Yeah, did not want to blow a Ravage just for that kill.
The Ravage is like one of their biggest spells right now. If they use it, they have to get bare minimum 2 kills or objectives. They can't use it,
Or at least a core. Just can't be getting a support on
They can't
dying.
just use it to kill supports or, like what Ice did in the bottom lane to get away, to not give away the dual damage. Right now, they are not in a very favorable position. They have to get a lot from their big ultimates. And Rubik here gets a steal, he gets the stun. A pretty good steal for him. Right now, what's interesting to see is what is Moon Meander going to go next. Is he going to transition into a much more initiator, or he wants to go for like a more carry, with a Shadow Blade, which allows him to maybe build into the Silver Edge that's really good against the Tide later on.
Yeah, even the Dragon Knight as well.
Yeah, that too.
Faceless grouping up under cover of smoke at the same time that DC are mirroring that movement. They head towards top for Digital Chaos, and Faceless trotting down to the bottom lane. But there's a tier 1 here, so that should be an easy grab.
That was like good play by DC. Wow.
Unfortunately, not an easy last hit.
What?
Weeha with the Forge Spirit
Dude,
tower deny. That's now 2 for him.
3 for him if you count the last hit that he got on the tower in mid lane, where FL was trying to deny the tower and he managed to get the last hit against 2 heroes.
It doesn't lead to a lot of blood on the field, but it's a big swing in gold. Probably about 2k net worth overall.
DC just making the right movements. They know this Black was at the bottom lane before, and they know they have Aegis, so they do not want to fight into them. So immediately they move to top. They're keeping all the lanes pushed out. This is what you want. This is what you want when you're not going to fight the enemy. You keep the lanes pushed up and Resolution pressuring the top tier 3 tower, forcing the glyph out of Faceless.
Simultaneously, Faceless do take down the tier 2, so they match what DC already did, and finally they'll get the last hit uncontested.
Finally.
A little gold for them.
Getting last hit on towers, yeah?
They do have Blink Ravage now. Maybe they could find a setup here. This could be huge for Ice. It is only a level 1 Ravage. Got to be careful.
Did they have
about the
vision on
Rubik
Ice before? So do they know about the Blink?
I don't think so.
Yeah, they probably don't. This could be big for Faceless.
But look at the positioning of Misery. This is A, the worst hero to jump on, and B,
and look at
he's unlikely to even get caught. Breaks the smoke,
Luna
backs
is
away.
Pushing the lane as well, so it makes it very difficult for Faceless to make a move. They need to get their lanes pushed out. When you want a 5-man, the most important thing for you is to make sure you get all the lanes pushed out, then you're able to 5-man. But if the lanes are not pushed out, then it becomes very obvious when you're trying to make a smoke play, make a rotation. It becomes very easy to guess for the opponents.
So Faceless going to have to slow things down here for the moment. They are closing in. Finally, Nuts getting nearer and nearer. That Chen Aghanim Scepter simultaneously. We do see Black up to 2,300 gold, so it could be the completed Manta for him.
Oh, so they actually totally forgo the mech. No one actually built the mech on the Faceless side.
Perhaps Ice could go back for it, but at that point, is it even worth it?
Not sure if he still wants to go for it, or he's going to opt for something like a 4-star, more mobility items. You want to have mobility items against like the Rubik Leaf, since you are going to be able to remove the Leaf duration if you get a 4-star on your teammate.
You can see the overall tenor of the game here with all the tower denies and last hits, the constant farming for the Weevoker, who, by the way, has carried more than his fair share of games as a single core Invoker going into the late game. And in this case, has a Luna and a Legion to back him up. DC do continue to pull a bit farther ahead. They're even going to start to pressure the mid lane, grouping up the whole squad, rotating into position now. And they're going to let Resolution be the man in front. Already not only Manta complete, but an Ogre Club to go along with it. Out-farming the enemy Terrorblade for now.
They're just starting to push once the Aegis is gone. So DC feeling they are much stronger than their opponents right now. But still, if you look at their heroes, they are pretty close to their Aghanims on Invoker, though. They might want to consider having it.
Who's going to get the good initiation, though? Moon has a blink, but at the same time, there's the disruption with Aether Lens on XY and Ice with his own blink.
You don't really want to make a first move on Legion unless you get the Tide.
They could go for it. Jax leaping in over the top, tries to find Resolution.
Ravage!
Then the Ravage comes through, but Soxa with
Rubik!
the steal, looking for the counterplay. He finds them all! Beautiful turn by Soxa, and then the follow-up by Ice Low. The Tombstone doing its work. Misery forcing them back. Faceless, though, surviving through it. Black Lady with the damage. The Terrorblade gets to work. It's a triple for him. It's likely to be a quad. Misery with the TP out. He won't make it. Faceless slamming the door and winning through a stolen 4 or maybe even 5-man Ravage. My God, thought Soxa had won them the fight for sure there.
But Terrorblade at the end of the day is still a hero that outputs so much of damage. Looking at the replay here, they get the jump onto Resolution, but immediately LC cancels the initiation. Rubik steals the Ravage right here.
And it was mid-Anchor Smash cast too. He literally hit all 5 with that.
But
And they still lose the
They
fight.
couldn't kill the Terrorblade, and Luna did not get his Eclipse off because he just got destroyed right away by the Terrorblade.
What a massive fight for Faceless.
Yep.
Just when you start to count them out.
Very good jump there by Faceless. They coordinated it really well. They initiated with the DK. He stuns a target, forces the LC to come in to save the Luna, and Tide got a fantastic Ravage despite still getting stolen by the Rubik. But still, it was a great first move there by Faceless. Very well done.
All of a sudden, Ice. Some nice gold in the bank for him.
He's going Refresher right away, I think. It's going to be very important, like I mentioned. If the game goes late, the Tide has to get to the point where he has the Refresher.
Yeah, you can even just commit one to make sure you kill the Rubik and then still have another for the rest of the team. So perhaps a way to deal with that spell steal as well. But DC, they know the Ravage is on cooldown now.
Yep.
And they're going to move right back in down the middle lane. They feel like they have the power play here. Moon with a big, deep dive onto XY. Will cut out his heart. Shadow Demon brought down.
Rubik did not get disruption.
And suddenly, after a great fight, Faceless by DC, not just knocking, but banging on the front door, aggressively charging in. Ice forced to jump in with an Anchor Smash. He is very tanky, and he does what he can to slow this push down, but the Glaives, they continue to bounce, ramping up the damage, forcing Nuts back. Even a Zoni Meteor gets plopped down. And with that, suddenly, Faceless get racks just like that. Decisive movements from Digital Chaos and no reply. Faceless, minus their Shadow Demon, and more importantly, Winter, minus their Ravage, have no response.
That was such a world-class play there by DC, that decision-making, understanding they had like 20 seconds to 30 seconds to actually get the racks when Tide plus Metamorphosis was still on cooldown, so just very, very good decision-making by DC that allowed them to secure that racks.
And not having the Shadow Demon actually quite a big deal. Is they can't disrupt the Luna to slow the push down. They don't get those extra illusions to stall.
That's very important. Like the game that we saw yesterday on the who was it on the SD kept getting disrupt on the Luna. And it actually meant so much in the team fights.
Yeah, so a great pick there by Moon to find him early, and does go to show you that even though XY might be a poor lad, he's a very important one for Faceless.
They popped a scan, they were anticipating.
Oh, and Roche is about to respawn.
They're expecting FL to try and, get something in return. Sunstrike to scout things out.
A little bit early, Roche not coming up for 10 seconds.
They do have their power spike now after getting the BKB on Resolution, so he's not going to be an easy target anymore.
Definitely not. They have decent physical damage, I suppose, from Black, but Luna has great armor as well. 19 just on her own. And that's not even counting the mech.
The thing is, Black does not have a BKB, so I think if Invoker, at some point, you want to consider getting a BKB, so you run in the fight, you don't have to worry about Ravage, and you can drop the spells on top of the Terrorblade to kill him. Since Terrorblade does not have a BKB yet, he's going for a Skadi most likely next. So that's going to give a good amount of timing window for the Invoker before the Terrorblade starts to think about getting a BKB.
And it does make you wonder, Winter, will Faceless be able to deal with DC late? Because the Terrorblade illusions, you've got to worry about the Invoker. You also have the Luna Glaives, great for clearing them. We've already seen that Legion's overwhelming odds is quite effective, at least at somewhat chipping away. Then you've got the Fade Bolt, whatever Rubik steals, you're not just going to have this easy illusion spam to rely on to auto-win you the game.
That is true, but at the same time, I feel like they have 2 other really, really good tools, the Refresher on Tide, and you want to have Dagger on the Shadow Demon so you can get the Disrupt on the Luna. Those are the... Oh, they use 2 smokes there. That is not great for Faceless. They are going to waste 1 smoke in the mid to late game scenario. They're going to try to get a first move here.
Could be big, but Saksa also smoked up. He's got a blink now as well, so Ice 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 could be very tough to get off a perfect Ravage. Jabs will be revealed. He still marches forward, blink, and a stun, and he's going to find the enemy Rubik off the bat, but Saksa kept alive and now turned upon. There's the BKB. Eclipse coming in hot and heavy from Resolution. They bring Ice 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 low. Can they finish the job? The Glaives continue to bounce, and Misery jams at home. Will find the kill, but he gets turned on in turn as Black moves forward. Directly on top of the meatball, though. They're going to look to duel, and Moonmeander can't even get it off. Blade Mail's there. Doesn't even need the duel to get the kill. And with that, it's going to be 3 down, a buyback on the Tide, but no tower to TP to, no team to join.
This is not good.
Winter, there is no Metamorphosis even online now, which is basically an ultimate for Faceless at this stage.
Well, DC might have enough time to secure the Roshan and go for the push as well. This is really, really difficult for Faceless right now without the Metamorphosis, and they have to deal with the Aegis on the Luna. They're going to need a Miracle Ravage on Ice Ice here to be able to hold.
And the thing is for DC, they don't even really have to commit that much. They can just chip away with the Forge Spirits. The Luna can be out in front, but she's got Aegis and BKB. And then Weehaw doesn't need to jump in.
They have 2 BKBs now. This is going to be so difficult. They somehow need to find a Blink Ravage or a Blink Stun by the DK on the Invoker or the Luna before they get their BKBs off. But then again...
And you have to hit the Rubik so he doesn't steal it. Or at the very least, he's got to be locked down in some other fashion.
When there's a lot of ifs, it's going to be difficult. Something might go wrong in the team fights if everything has to be
And then
perfect.
while you're busy waiting, trying to find the perfect Ravage, they just jump in and kill somebody instantly with a duel, a Sunstrike. And we've seen the Eclipse damage.
They have the Sandbag and the Disrupt to save the dual target. I'll give that for Faceless. So a dual target might still be able to get out of harm's way with the supports behind him.
A lot of pressure, though, on Faceless. DC with more tools to initiate. More get-out-of-jail-free cards.
They can't afford to lose another team fight. I think the Terrorblade might have to consider completing a BKB before going for the Skadi right now. Because last fight, he just basically got destroyed by all the spells. He got
Invoker can basically solo him at this point.
He needs to get a BKB, and Weehaw setting up in bottom lane. Jabs does not have a BKB here, so he might want to stay back and cancel Jabs TP while his team forces the push at top and BOT himself into the top lane. This might be Weehaw's play right here. This could be big.
Could just win them the game if they don't have the Dragonite Tornado comes through. And now he's going to go for the TP out. Jabs probably trying to hunt him in the trees. No, he just starts walking back, but it's already too late. Weehaw up to the top lane. A master stroke from Digital Chaos as they surge onto their second lane of Raxa. With this, could be up to the 1-0 advantage. Where's the team fight? It's already looking like the full lane will go down uncontested. The plays from the Weevoker. It's the hero that he rose to fame on even before the Meepo.
Oh my god.
And he delivers once again.
That was such an amazing play. That's such an amazing read by Weehaw. Just what a player.
And knows the Dragonite can't even chase him to try and cancel his own TP as the Blink is put on cooldown there. Just really no counterplay available for Faceless whatsoever.
Look at their buybacks. The next fight, they're going to need some buybacks for the next defense. Terrorblade has buyback. Dragonite has buyback, so those are the 2 cores having the buybacks. Faceless are going to be needing everything they can get from their arsenal right now. They might be able to finish a BKB on Black if he wants to. He's pretty close to that.
At the same time, Winter, you're looking at Resolution very close to a Butterfly on the Luna. So now you basically have to disrupt him to have your own army.
Well, how are you going to do this? Okay, he has a Glimmer kit, so he's going to be able to Glimmer. Do they have a gem?
Glimmer in to get the disrupt.
Yeah, why not? That's going to be a crucial part of your damage in the team fights. Do they have a gem on DC? DC does not have a gem or Sentry. So this might work out for Faceless if they get a disrupt illusions on the Luna.
Well, they're going to show Resolution bottom. I doubt he's going to push too hard. He has bought the Quarterstaff.
Just watch the Shadow Demon. XY might be the hero for Faceless in this fight.
See Resolution jumping in with the Alacrity, just gets to work for now. And now
he's going in for it. He's
look
going
at the attack speed. XY will Glimmer in for the disruption, but he doesn't have the Butterfly just yet. He's even going to be purged as they try to slow this push down. Resolution will back away.
All right,
and now you're 250 gold away from your Butterfly. But they're not even waiting.
Yeah, but the thing is they see the Glimmer now, so they're going to be much more prepared.
They continue to heal. Resolution up, pumping damage. Now the tier 3 falls. That's 3 down. XY just getting chewed apart by the Glaives in the duel. Moon was ready, shuts him down, and they chase forward. Ravage comes through, gets up the Anchor Smash. This time won't be stolen, but don't know if it matters anymore, Winter. Ice getting blown apart with the BKBs. Resolution standing strong. Black does have the Sunder here, but he won't. Oh, he's going to drop anyway. Won't be able to get it off. There's the GG. Digital Chaos outmaneuvering Faceless every step of the way, just outplay after outplay. Whether it was the TP cancel, whether it was great tower denies early on, excellent performance from top to bottom, and they will take game 1.
Yeah, once again, world-class performance here by DC. Very good decision making, and the lanes went really well for them. And it came down to the point where the Chen pickup just didn't, get his job done in the laning phase. They just lost too much control on the laning phase. Black didn't get his free farm. Daryl on the Tide, he was struggling a lot on the offlane. Didn't receive any help at all from his supports, apart from that one TP from DK when he was getting dove.
I mean, Faceless drafted a very clear strategy, but didn't feel like they were confident in executing it. Not something we've seen too much out of them as far as their play style. Normally, more of like a Black playing a hard carry that wants to farm and play a little slower, but wasn't able to do that this game.
DC's shot calling, amazing this game.
Yeah, they definitely feel like a team. They looked a little shaky coming into the major. Hadn't played many games, I think just mainly elimination mode and the summit. But man, they are gelling and showing that there's a reason why this team finished top 2 at TI. So with that, Alex, DC, they certainly were the favorites coming in. They continue to be so right now.
Yes, indeed. I mean, this was kind of, is it safe to say anticipated by you guys as much as it was our panel?
Yeah, I mean, Black just did an interview. I think he even retweeted it last night about like their shattered confidence. So, I mean, Faceless are aware they haven't really been performing the way they used to.
Swapping roles before the event is not exactly a good sign. So
I think they had a much stronger draft than usual this time, though, to be honest. But yeah, I definitely
they
still
didn't
think.
play the draft.
But they weren't confident in executing it. I think that's the big issue.
I think that's something we'll dive into deeper on the desk. Thanks very much, guys. I think, as Winter was saying, they were not happy with not comfortable on some of those heroes. In fact, you were actually talking about this in the green room, Shiva. It looked like Faceless were just a little out of kilter.
Yeah, I believe I saw some, like the last time Nuts played Chen was at the Vanilla Major qualifiers, and he hasn't played it since, and he didn't feel comfortable. I believe there was even a very harsh tweet from TI champion PPD. This Chen has no idea what he's doing.
Damn, and that's towards Nuts. We spoke.
Yeah, well, I mean during the game already, the commentators the first 5 minutes already said, well, this Chen has not done what a Chen should do in the first 5 minutes. Doesn't have the impact that a Chen should have, and I feel like if they maybe had a bit stronger of an early game, they would have done better.
So let's run with that then, Fogged. What should a Chen have done? What should have been on its checklist for the first 5 minutes of game?
Well, first I'd say like playing a Chen when you're with a team that feels kind of disconnected and when you haven't been together that long, it can be extremely difficult. It's a completely team-oriented hero. You have to walk around completely like just in a unison for it. So just going off what he probably should have done was, I think the Tidehunter super struggled. Like he's versus a Luna Rubik. It's a Tidehunter. He didn't get Ring of Protection. He didn't get any I think he started with like boots or something. So he got zoned super heavily by these 2 ranged heroes because he obviously can't walk into Anchor Smash to reduce their damage since they're ranged, and he had no help. So he struggled so much in this draft. Chen should have probably started out bottom, even though his safe lane would have suffered a bit. Suffering for like 1 or 2 levels is fine. There's no way he dies to an Undying Legion Commander. It has to be a mistake that's made there. I think helping your Tidehunter, then making that quick rotation, and then even using that with the Shadow Demon, making some emphasized roaming potential with the 2 supports could be an option at that point. Having your Tidehunter get so shut down, he's so crucial to their draft. So that at least was the one thing that I was pointing out for that. But.
So I mean, that surely isn't the only weakness we can identify. Such a swift game as well. DC, they executed the draft. You said you like the way Misery does so, and no exception here as well?
I like the way that they executed too, and they kind of like, I don't know if it was what they thought about, but they have a massive versatility and diversity with the way they draft, but Rubik and Undying were 2 of Faceless's key heroes in the way that they ran through the Southeast Asian qualifiers, and they took both of them away from him right away.
Yeah, it has been
cool approach.
Quite the contrast, quite the juxtaposition between those Southeast Asian qualifiers and arriving here in the Boston Major. Undefeated in the qualifiers, not won a single game here in the Boston Major. Perhaps they'll be able to turn it around as we venture into the next. But first, it's scoreboard time. Let's have a little look at the scores on the doors. It wasn't pretty for any Faceless fans out there. In fact, 3 members yet to get off that goose egg. But
4 jabs. I feel like he is the team that is the player that in his team is maybe the newest, maybe the most nervous, maybe suffers the most from their lack of confidence. And his Dragonite, his first Dragon form, normally you look for a first Dragon form to come out and actually get something off the back of it, be that a kill, be that a tower, or at least a large chunk of a tower. He didn't really get to do something during his first Dragon form. He actually rotated and ended up not making a difference to where he rotated to. I feel like he struggled. He didn't have the game that you would expect from him because he is a very capable mid player.
Yeah, it seemed like it was very DC favored until Faceless got that Roshan. The Rosh pretty much like enabled them to take a couple more fights, but in the end, DC's draft just was like a little bit easier to execute and not as cooldown reliant. Like having this Terrorblade needing to have Metamorphosis up in every single team fight. You know, as soon as you saw like they won that big team fight mid and then Meta wasn't up, Ravage wasn't up, DC just runs at them and takes a Rax pretty much because of that.
Now, when we were kind of probed for an MVP, it seemed like the desk was split. Saxa and Weeha were the two names at the tip of both your tongues, Ted. What is it that made you suggest that Weeha could have taken it perhaps over that one? Was that just his Invoker play?
I'm just a massive Weeha fan.
You are?
Yeah, he's great. I love watching him on a hero like Invoker. Obviously, the game was, in my opinion, won, but things like that TP cancel and stuff is just the kind of extra level that you get from a player like him. But honestly, a Rubik stealing Ravage, I think, deserves some points. So that
with
was
no blink.
Yeah,
With
he's
no
just literally like yoink. So I mean, it's kind of a misplay from the Tide, but you know, heads up play, and I like that. Rubik's a it's a good hero for MVP, I'd say.
Yeah, I think there was definitely some plays that justified the swift victory from DC and the dispatch of Faceless. We're going to be seeing them again in just a moment, but first we have to understand some of the more intricacies of that game, and to help us guide through it, it's Purge. Let's take a look.
Hey guys, going to be focusing on the big fight in the mid lane that DC had some trouble with. It was very interesting because of the way that they set it up in the first place. They did a great job segmenting the fight with the Ice Wall, which basically meant that the only vulnerable hero on their side is going to be the Luna. So Luna's the target that they're expecting their opponents to go on, and to figure out how this team fight is going to go, we got to think about what their tools are. They've got Ravage, obviously, with the Blink Dagger, and they've also got Dragonite Stun with the Blink Dagger. Wasn't completely sure the Tide would have Blink here, but eventually he did catch up. So DC also has some solutions for that. It's mostly going to be press the attack for the Legion Commander. It can remove stuns, and obviously any heals and mechs coming out of Undying, but that's kind of a side benefit. So they're expecting their opponents to jump in Ravage Resolution. They jump forward and do press the attack, but the really smart thing that Ice did was that he staggered it a little bit. He lets the Dragonite go in first, land the stun so the press the attack comes out, and then immediately after jumps on the backline and blows everybody up. Because of this staggered Ravage situation, it gave them a massive team fight advantage for DC. It let the rest of their team actually come from the back lines and initiate with their Chen creeps and things like that. But ultimately, because of the great steal from Soxa, it turned it around and made it a little bit more even. And it's even significant that this fight went this way in the first place, just because of how far ahead DC was. It was a great draft for them. They were ahead, but this was really a beautiful fight from Faceless.
Credit where credit is due.
Yep.
You know, we're sitting there picking apart Faceless, perhaps the shortcomings on Chen, but then also it does seem like there's some praise to be hailed as well. It does seem like Ice was a common feature there. You enjoyed that one there, Fogged?
Yeah, I mean, it was like pretty much as soon as Jabs picked up his Blink Dagger, Resolution was pretty far up, and they didn't expect it. They were just like, okay, we have multiple forms of save. They were probably just expecting the Ravage and having the follow-up, but since both Blinks come out, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, overall, I think Faceless, they could have had more good fights going for them, but because it was always DC positioning properly, knowing kind of what to expect. Even in this case, it was, you know, their expectations was a little bit off. But the other fights, they knew exactly what was coming. And all the fights were happening also on the side of the map of Faceless. And then you got Luna, of course, pushing hard. So the moment they take a fight, they take so much map control off the back of it. It was good for them.
And little things like adding up too, like the pressure that they put in the safe lane onto the Terrorblade, you could see he was not as farmed as he wants to be. Usually you see him like topping the boards, and those two denies by Weeha. You can't ignore those type of things. It neglects gold to the enemy team, like beautiful positioning by him, even gets a last hit on the tower too, which was unexpected. So
I think if you're low on confidence, the very least you need to do is win your lanes and win them well and give yourselves that confidence, get into the game. And they just kind of didn't like that. It was a very tough lane for Black. And yeah, like that little things like Invoker get, and they're just like, oh my god, like you start to feel nothing's going for you and stuff. Yeah. So it kind of snowballed into the game from there.
I mean, let's not forget before we jumped in, when you saw that draft locked in, you actually had a bit of a smiley face. You're like, I like what Faceless have done there.
It's an easy to execute kind of strat.
Right.
Like a lot of people do that kind of strat. And you know, you've got the Tide to reset the fight or to initiate if you want. DK is the front liner and Terrorblade as well as a pain in the ass. But I mean, it just, you know, DC were just better, I think, and you could maybe they need to pull out a different strat, try something else. That did not work.
First Shadow Demon loss on the main stage.
Is that actually the first? Because it's been banned, but that's the first time it's been played and lost.
It was 6 out of 6 wins yesterday. I think 2 of the games it was banned.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And then today. So that's the first loss.
All right. Damn. Well, 2 of the names that we've been talking about, we were praising Weeha for his play. We were talking about Misery and his draft. And both of them, earlier on yesterday, did have a chance to talk to Slack. So we'll have a quick look at that before we get into our second draft.
Hello, I'm Dr. Ishkafel, Dota 2 psychologist. I'm here with 2 members of Team Digital Chaos, Misery, and Weeha. Gentlemen, I brought you together because your teammates have said that you have some problems. So you seem to be the most aggressive towards one another, and we need to solve this before the Boston Major really kicks off. And I'm going to be here to counsel you as not a couple, but as teammates. Before we begin, simple test. I'm going to say some words. I would like you to say the first thing that comes into your mind. All right? Say them at the same time. Are you ready? Cat.
Dog.
Dog.
Cat.
Cat. Sure. Banana.
Apple.
Apple.
Fruit.
Fruit. Very good. Very informative. Okay, this one's a little more difficult. Divine Rapier.
Gyro. Loose.
Gyro and
Loose.
loose. Very good.
Lose the game.
Trust. Trust.
Panic.
Panic.
No trust.
No trust. That's why we're here, gentlemen. Panic and no trust. We're here to fix that. Here we go. What do you see? Anything at all?
Nothing.
You see nothing on the page.
It's like, yeah.
Okay.
I see Bane like trying
You see Bane, a nightmare?
Yeah, like this is his head, and then
Yes.
like his arms like.
Panic, nightmare, lack of trust. This symbol. Dota 2. Okay, good. You're not psychotic at least. What is this?
Somebody throwing a sword and a hammer at a trampoline.
It's a really poor drawing.
Yes, both are correct on both accounts. Very good. Finally, this. Does this invoke feelings of happiness or anger?
This is like trolling.
Trolling.
Happiness.
Happiness. Good, good. All right. We're going to try an exercise here. It's a couples exercise. I need you not to laugh. I need you to take it very seriously. I'd like you to both grab each other's hands. Just touch each other's hands. Just hold them in your hand. No, both hands. Both of them. Yes, just like that. I want you to look into each other's eyes for 30 seconds. Don't laugh. Don't smile. Look deeply. Don't look away. That's it. Don't laugh. There's 10 seconds left. Okay. Gonna give it to you easy. I'm gonna let you stop now. No, keep looking. Please, hold the hands. Say whatever you want to say. Just say something. Don't think about it. Just say it.
Dota 2.
Dota 2, great. Fantastic, fantastic. I think we've made a lot of progress here today. Dota 2 is important to you. You're wondering what you're doing here. What you're doing here is you're fixing a relationship. Last thing, and then I'll let you go. This is for both of you. I would like you to draw a map for me. At the end of the map is something that you want, but I need you to draw obstacles that stand in your way. Go ahead.
A map?
A map. Just draw things that are standing in your way to what you want right here, whatever that thing is. Yes, yes, on the paper. Draw away. Okay. Great. All right. Now, could you just tell me what the X represents? What are you trying to get to?
TI.
TI. And I need you to tell me, what are these 3 things standing in his way?
The first thing is like resembles public games, like how he's losing MMR
Yes.
constantly.
Minus 25. That's very good.
Yes.
What does SB stand for?
That probably Spirit Breaker.
Spirit Breaker.
Charging him when he's mid.
Yes. Very good.
Thus him losing.
Is that correct? And last but not least, this says Dota. Do you know what that represents?
A lot of Dota too, you know.
Very good. Do you see how easily he was able to see what blocks you from your dreams? So, do you trust him now? You said no trust. He knows what is weakening you. And you, now you finally do know what you're doing here.
Thank
You're
you.
cured. Enjoy. You're welcome.
Very impressive.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for joining us.
I love that. Therapy with Slacks, getting to see a bit more from Misery and Co. And a DC, indeed, are far from miserable. They're already 1-0 up and actually 1 away from getting themselves into those quarterfinals. It's the big test. It is that single elimination that I do continue to remind you that every single game from here on out, you lose a team. A $3 million major, and now Faceless are on the ropes. Expectations for the draft, because it is just moments away. Of course, reintroducing my panel quickly. Shiva, Fogs, Empyrean, Flax. First things first. I think I've got myself a meme card. Just want to clarify.
Oh, did you get one?
Someone tweeted me. They said it's on the way.
Okay, nice.
Carry on, Fog. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Lost my train of thought. Thanks. I'm just kidding. They'll probably, I think, stay away from the Chen. Okay. I think it's it can work, but it's something you have to be really comfortable with playing, and we could say that Nuts didn't look the most comfortable on it.
It's like I said, he's a good hero on the right player.
Yeah.
Like you need someone who's a Chen specialist, a Chencialist.
Oh,
that was not good. That was not good.
A Chencialist.
It's actually not easy to say.
We'll get it going. It's like Slacks' lethal thing.
Have you got any tongue twisters, Ted? Do you have any like vocal warm-ups?
No.
Like she sells
cup of coffee,
seashells on the seashore.
No, I can't.
Cup of coffee.
Yeah, cup of coffee. Cup of tea. That's my warm-up.
Shiv, you strike me as someone that would have a vocal warm-up.
Oh, careful.
But I only like to have a warm-up for pronunciation rather than.
Oh, for what?
There's a chaos pronunciation verse.
Pronunciation.
That a Dutch person at some point said, because there's so many words that are written the same thing in English
as
they and then pronounced entirely different from each other.
Well, is it written down? Or
give us an example.
Oh damn. Okay. Do you know what else I've written down? Best segue of the day.
Go on.
Social media questions.
Oh, they're not there. They're typed, aren't they? Carry on.
Oh crumbs.
From the social stratosphere.
No, I've stopped that
What
one.
is it? You stopped that one?
It's in the bin. Right, Malastrix. Hey.
We know him.
Yeah, we know him.
Lack of public history this season. Didn't they finish second in TI?
I think that's a lot of public history. I don't know what.
Does DC?
He means after TI.
It's Malastrix that sent a tweet. Normally, you would consider him to ask smart questions.
Oh, zing! Chicken zinger meal for one.
Right.
Go home.
Woo.
I mean, this season, I guess
this competitive
they haven't
season.
really played this competitive season because according to me, competitive season starts after TI.
That's according to Sheebs.
According to me.
Yeah. Even though all the
It's up
graphics
to
show
interpretation.
earnings for like the whole year,
No,
right?
yeah, they actually for lifetime. They changed it.
There's a
Oh,
lifetime.
they changed it. Okay.
I think this season all they have done is the summit, and I didn't really perform there.
And to most, this is actually considered, albeit in 2016, to be the first major of the 2017 competitive season.
Which
I know
it clearly is.
It sounds silly, but
The
that's
ending
exactly
of
what
the
it
first
is.
season of the year, basically, if you want to call it that. Yeah.
You should do the season, they have like the 15-16 season, the 16-17 season. It's like that. It's not like a solid calendar year.
Yeah.
It's a period that starts after TI and runs until the next.
I mean, you could say it affects it a bit, but these guys have been playing for a while. You kind of know the way they play. But yeah, I guess as a team, it would change it a little bit. But
go Ukraine! That's the Ukrainian player.
They got coaches to make up for that.
Yeah, exactly.
For the lack of play, I would say.
And I mean, while we do have a time building to the draft, that discussion about coaches can definitely be resurfaced, right? I mean, I mean, we're talking. We saw Bulba sitting down, and his role is to coach that squad. And I do think it's interesting to debate first from a player's perspective, then from our perspective, what it is a coach can provide, and if it's always relevant. I mean, I think I've seen instances in other titles that coaches can have a detrimental effect sometimes on a roster.
I think that if Faces would have a coach right now, it would help them.
Right.
Are you saying Sam is a detriment to DC?
I was thinking about. I've seen results go down when someone else. Yeah, when there's no respect for a coach.
Coaches make a big difference. I mean, isn't there a difference in that other game you work on, where the coach sort of stands behind them?
Yeah,
do they still allow them to do that? Because I know there was some controversy.
There's been a change. Yeah,
you're not allowed to.
The ruling has changed. They can no longer basically have a sixth man in the headsets. That's been changed.
Okay,
I think that's good. I think it's a coach has their position. I don't think they should be in the game. I mean, it's a 5-person game.
Indeed,
personally, that's
the
it.
argument. Yeah.
So, I think being outside and helping, that's great. I think it's needed even for a team now at this point. Especially if you're facing for so many teams which are using coaches, why not use your own?
Yeah.
So do you feel like it is in everyone's mind? It is a benefit just to have another voice. How much is kind of taken on board is debatable.
It depends also, as you said, you have to be able to trust and respect your coach, because the moment that you have even the slightest doubt that his opinion is valuable, then the coach is not going to mean anything. And then it might actually be detrimental because there's just a person down in your ear, you're not believing it, and he's just wasting your time.
And they could be right.
And
So
it
you
could be-
ignore them because you
yes.
don't respect them, even though they're right. It happens.
Boba has a great track record, though, as a
Yeah.
coach. Every single time he's been with the team, he's improved them heavily. So they definitely show respect to him. They even asked him to become their coach. It's not like he was like, guys, can I please coach you? So
Yeah.
definitely shows a lot of
that is
respect.
Very important information.
Sam is
Yeah.
widely respected, definitely.
Absolutely.
So-
I mean, that wasn't the question. I don't think we were doubting that. It was more of just
Hello,
intrigue to know that DC have this. Again, we're talking about their individuals being stronger, but we're also saying they've got a coach over Faceless as well.
Yeah.
Perhaps something that could be on
Two
their...
coaches over
two
Faceless.
coaches, excuse me.
Yeah.
Faceless could
yeah,
probably...
Blitz, what are you going to do?
Okay. Blitz is somewhere just shaking his fist in the air.
Fuck
Damn
it.
you, Ted!
I'll get you,
Fuck if
Ted!
you were a Faceless
Yeah.
coach.
If I was Faceless's coach,
Oh,
they
or
should
both.
fire me immediately.
No, because you so far Faces has not won a single game.
Yeah, I ain't
Are
going to
you-
help them, Chiefs.
Are you going to suggest for them to
Make
do
the call,
something
Ted.
entirely different?
Yeah,
or are you going
fire
to
me.
suggest for them to,
No, I would
to
say
do the same thing?
You know what, lads? We're one game from elimination. Pick what you like. Let's have
fun.
Let's go out all guns blazing rather than try and pick some Chen strat that we think is going to be good, but we don't quite know how to execute. I would say just pick what the hell you like.
Guys, first pick
Have
Chen.
fun.
First pick Chen. Get it, get it up.
SD. Oh, dear God, it's over.
SD again.
Don't they just respond to through pick Luna? Right, no. I
We'll
think the
see.
Luna is definitely, you don't really want to be playing versus that just because of how dominant we've seen the two paired together.
Yes.
Maybe
What else would you say would be as good? Like, pretty much anything that can walk up and hit buildings has to be good. Luna, it's the glaives that really makes it.
the
right?
Glaives really makes. I think Terrorblade was pretty interesting approach. I think. Yeah, okay, they just go for that one anyway. So Alchemist
Tenho.
as well. That's like the two big ones that stand out. Just highest favor.
Yeah.
During the group stages, at some point, I watched a Faceless game, and it felt like they copied a strategy from, at that point was Virtus Pro. They had a Weaver support and everything, and it felt like very VP-esque.
Yeah.
And this is like, okay, you beat us last game with the Rubik Luna. Let's try that strat. And it's still maybe not really finding their own style. I mean, it's
Yeah.
very strong, but interesting to see them going just for the exact same opening.
A,
Gives you
a point
strong
that
safe
has
lane.
to be raised while we do venture into our second draft is that Ogre Magi did not make an appearance.
Ogre Magi,
Ogre,
Drow,
Drow, OD. Those are the big three.
Crazy, yeah.
I mean, the stat was something along the lines of 47 out of 57 games Ogre Magi has been picked or banned prior
Yeah.
to this series.
Mm.
That's a whole lot of Magi.
Yeah, it is. By the way, that guy had a sign that said "Hi Nick," but it was just on a bit of torn-off cardboard.
Hi, Nick.
He's been turning it toward the.
Oh,
Oh, man,
that's Nick.
that was a good stare. Damn.
Yeah,
He's
that
been
was-
turning it toward the cameras every time possible. You must
Really?
really love Nick.
Yeah, but also if you like Nick so much, get a
Why
tidy,
did you put
tidy
some
up your
effort into
sign.
it?
I'm
Why
just
didn't
saying,
you
tidy
get
it
him
up
a
a little
ticket?
Bit of word art, Really put some effort into it. Like maybe a nice border.
bit. Something.
Yeah, I'd like that.
Hire an artist.
Multicolored Sharpies, just mix it up.
It's like they found a box outside
the
the
effort.
venue and just give me that. Hi Nick. No
Or-
offense, you guys are great. Don't kill me.
Or they just genuinely found it on the floor, like, I don't know who this is for, but this is mine now.
I
Hi,
want to
Nick.
hold up a sign, don't matter what it says.
Yeah.
Say hi, Nick.
Okay,
Maybe.
we need to recap because I think it looks like we
So,
have missed a couple of
Mirana.
bets.
Yeah,
Mirana
Mirana.
SD.
Mirana SD, the Soul Catcher obviously makes Mirana's burst potential extremely high. We've also been seeing Lunas go for this super late BKB build, obviously because if you build BKB too early, it can be a big detriment to you early on. So if you're, specific example share, but with the Mirana, with this like the potential to burst the Luna before he gets BKB is very high. You're very good at illusion clearing as well, which Luna will get a Manta, of course, at one point in the game. It's a really good pick with Shadow Demon too. It's just safe, doesn't give anything away. It leaves your lanes open-ended.
I mean, the main thing about Arteezy's BKB, it wasn't that it was early, it was that he didn't really need it. Like, it was all physical damage, so it was like, what's the point? But I mean, against a team that's all magical damage, I don't think it would be terrible to get it relatively early. You wouldn't die.
And not dying is probably a good thing.
But then you don't hit, It's like, you want the combination. How come people don't get Ags Luna? Explain it to me, Fogged. Explain it to me like I'm a child.
Your other items are just better. You don't want to be dependent on your ultimate so highly. You want to be a physical damage dealer, tower pusher. If you're just relying on your ultimate so highly, it's not really the
But it's
greatest.
so cool.
It does look cool. I mean, it's a great item.
Oh.
It's not like it's a bad item.
Bye-bye Magi.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think, banning out the Undying, the Ogre, weakening Faceless' lanes for sure, and just taking out more of their comfort heroes. Like I mentioned before, they stole the Undying, stole kind of in a way the Undying from them before, but not going to let it happen. And, they're maybe thinking, these guys are taking our picks,
Yeah.
They're taking our draft from before.
And is that something that is kind of viable and has a pretty good success rate?
Just
of actually
nicking someone's
basically
strap?
going, hey, that worked. Let's give that a whack.
Sure.
I mean, I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Slacks has a new hobby.
Yeah, what is this? He's Snapchatting.
Yes, he has discovered Snapchat, and there's actually a pug filter.
Get back to work.
There's a pug filter? That's actually pretty sweet.
Isn't there a Boston Major filter?
Yeah, there is.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is an actual Dota filter on Snapchat.
Looking at the Faceless Band's Invoker, of course, Weehaw had such a stellar performance in it last. It works really well with their draft as well. And okay, they take Enchantress. And the Alchemist Band, of course, Shadow Demon is just the Alchemist.
That in sync mode from Shiva and Perion Flex.
Oh,
explain yourselves,
please. Don't remix that. I figure it'll be.
Hi, Nick.
Maybe it'll be more effective than the Chen.
I hope so.
But we'll see.
It's different. It's a little bit different. Obviously, you strengthens your lanes more, but it's really, when you pick a Chen or Enchantress line, you put a lot of pressure on the person who's playing it.
You should.
And instant response, I kind of said how DC likes to, counterpick kind of in a way, or just like prep themselves up for the draft that they're facing. So Juggernaut, pretty hard for Enchantress to really gank. Great versus Luna at most of the stages of the game, and it gives you sustain for your push and sets you up into a tempo for your game.
I'm not sure if Nuts is the one playing the Enchantress. He's never played Enchantress in his competitive career.
Okay.
At least not according
Now's
to
the time. Let's stick him on Enchantress.
Hey, this is what you asked for, Ted. You said you haven't won a single game.
Go ham.
Go ham.
Yeah, but
Boss of the walls. They pick Centaur now too.
Yeah, here you go.
Do you think it might be XY playing it? I'll check if he does.
Centaur's back.
We had
have seen that
Centaur in the group
before.
stages. He did pretty well, I think. In
Yeah.
fact, I think they won, didn't they?
VP's game.
Yeah.
That was here, wasn't it?
Was
Wasn't
it?
That was yesterday.
That was yesterday.
Was it? Fair enough.
Yeah.
But we like that. We got the Ag Centaur and everyone just ran over walls, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Trying to
Gotta
think
love that.
the reasoning as to why they did it, though. At least for this game. Obviously, it gives them more like lockdown. Like the obvious things was lockdown, heavy burst. But what did they really? I guess they just wanted a heavy, beefy frontliner for the Luna. It's one of the only things that really come to mind for me right now.
Okay.
And just a disengage for Juggernaut.
At least we're getting to see some more heroes in play. I mean, that's Faceless and a Silver Lining.
Yeah, okay.
And I doubt the DC are going to have prepared for an Enchantress Centaur.
That's because they generally wouldn't have to, because it's not
usual.
It's good in very specific situations, and I've yet to see if this is one of those specific situations. Digital Chaos has still 2 picks to prepare for anything they might expect to come their way from Faceless. I mean, so far, if you look at Faceless, Fog, do you see like a specific timing they should hit? I mean, they've got the Luna, they've got the Siege, but at the same time, there's a Shadow Demon as well. What's Faceless' plan?
Wake up!
Yeah,
you.
I mean, they're just picking like a Luna strategy and having a frontliner, like I was kind of mentioning. They're just going for. I mean, they're just having it's just like a safe pick. It doesn't really reveal like too much what they really want. Just decent team fight.
Yeah.
And just having like this guy in the front who can tank everything.
Darkseer.
Enchantress does enable you to be able to pick like different type of offlaners, as we've seen. Like the Enchantress goes and helps him out. That's probably more so what he'll do this game. But picking this Darkseer changes it up a little bit more, because now you don't know where you still don't really know where the Mirana could be. It's more now it can more than likely be a mid laner. They can pick an Earth Spirit or something like that with the Darkseer or Spirit Breaker and just be emphasizing on heavily pressuring the lane that we saw before. This is a DC approach. They leave their lanes open-ended so they can really change up the way that they're going to approach the game at any stage. And they even have Faceless actually even feels forced to ban out a Meepo.
Yeah.
Wow.
They lost against the Digital Chaos Meepo in 20 minutes at some point, I believe.
It's still a hero that they can pick up for sure. They can put the Mirana support. They have the Shadow Demon Mirana roaming combo, Juggernaut safe lane, Darkseer Meepo. Meepo fits pretty well into the lineup too. Meepo can fit into lots of lineups, but if it's a last pick, it's just like one of those like it's boom in your face.
We lost. Yeah, it's one of those.
Yeah. Don't forget that was we got a promise actually from X-Nova of Warriors that perhaps a Meepo will be cropping up in later games.
A promise that perhaps, maybe?
Well, but he said, I can't reveal anything, and then Slacks made him explain with a facial expression, which was a smirk.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the most info I can get.
All right.
Close enough.
It's almost a promise in my mind.
So DC bans out the Tinker.
Oh, there's Tom. Hey,
that's
Tom.
a very individually targeted ban at Faceless at Jabs, because that's one of his more played heroes. There's a Tom and a Gurg there.
Yeah, Tom and Gurg. Shout out. Oh, is that lad's getting drinking nice and early? Cheers,
right.
Cheers.
With a glass of champagne.
I'm not going to lie, where's our champagne?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I like this. This is very straightforward DC lineup. It looks like kind of what you'd expect from like VP type of thing, you know, DK, Darkseer. They have a timing window push, but they also have heavy late game with the Shadow Demon Juggernaut combo. They even have great, they just have lots of setup. This gives them the lockdown that they were kind of missing with the only Mirana being their only stun on top of Vacuum.
DC's lineup is solid.
Yeah, it feels like you guys are sold on DC's draft at this point in time, and then you're sitting there with eyebrows raised and a bit of a frown.
It depends what Faceless can pull out of the bag for their fifth pick. It's going to need to be something that we're like techies or something.
So
we didn't think about this. This is genius.
It works. It's so good.
I just can't imagine what it might be, but
I'd love to see what if like the brainstorm you can come up with anything, Fog. Theorycraft for this final pick. Something that could be justified. This is his thinking face, by the way.
Yeah, when he's thinking, he does tilt his head back.
Yeah.
Purses his lips. And then he waits until it's been picked and says, yeah, I thought it would be that.
Yeah, he's got nothing. He's coming up empty. He's
trying to think of what can like really round up their lineup because they still kind of lack physical damage. It's literally it's all in on the Luna for physical.
I reckon it'll be something like Nature's Prophet or something.
I don't think it'll be Nature's Prophet.
Yeah, 100%, dude.
Jabs has played Medusa. It's not banned this time, but
it was
they don't
banned
have
the first time.
Medusa could, that's actually a good call. It could be a possibility that they're going for. It makes them like having a pretty greedy draft though. They're really slow on their timings.
And then there's a lot of pressure on Enchantress getting a lot done in the early game, which I don't have a lot of confidence in at this point. But I will be happy to be proven wrong. They're taking their time though. They're almost out.
They're thinking about it.
I know Jabs has played Mag every now and then. I mean, they don't really have a melee carry core to deal with it though. But okay, so Sniper. So they needed something to give them a bit more physical damage into the later stages and some more. I mean, it's a good lane for the Sniper versus a DK. DK always does pretty well.
Yeah.
But
It's interesting.
It is interesting.
It's
I think
interesting.
That is,
oh god, we're saying interesting again.
Interesting.
We're staying away from that. Get rid of it.
It's the cop-out word.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
that's I like to go for intriguing.
Intriguing.
Yeah, that's my cop-out.
Same thing.
Okay.
All right. Well, it's interesting. It's intriguing. Whatever you want to call it. Our interesting and intriguing casting duo is ready as well. LD Winter, you feeling good about this one?
I'm feeling good. I'm not sure how Faceless is feeling. Winter. They're up against elimination here. We're live on the floor of the Wang Theater in Boston. You gave a little gasp when you saw that last pick. And going into it, looking at the state of the draft, there weren't that many great options for Faceless. You were like, do they go Puck? Not so good against Dragon Knight. Not really a strong cure right now. Do they go Storm? It feels a little greedy. You know, I brought up the OD, which would be good in the lane, but then doesn't give you that space creator later on. So they end up going Sniper, and then you gasped. Why did you gasp, Winter?
I mean, Sniper is very similar to the reason why I didn't really fancy the OD suggestion that you were telling me, because it means that Tricore is pretty greedy. They're going to heavily rely on the Enchantress. I think if Nuts plays like what he did in the last game, they're not going to be able to get away with their greedy calls this game. He needs to be able to secure space, secure the lanes for especially the Centaur and the Sniper. He shouldn't prioritize helping the Luna.
Well, there were some harsh words from PPD on Twitter, but I mean, it's fair to say Nuts, he's not normally known for playing these types of jungle heroes, so...
He doesn't play jungle heroes.
Not really given any time to adapt or to practice, obviously.
Bottom lane.
They might find a first blood here. Could be big. XY gonna lift him. Hasn't skilled anything yet, so they need the chain stun. They get up the stomp. The follow-up shrapnel comes through. Moon just gonna accept his fate. Doesn't want to start with level 1 Surge and be unable to farm.
Well, this time...
So a first blood for Faceless, something sorely needed for
this
them.
time DC moves into the enemy jungle. The last game when Faceless had the Chen pickup, DC did not really invade and try to put wards to block off. This time they changed up their playstyle, so maybe expecting Faceless to, you know, run in the jungle, but instead Faceless went for the aggressive play with their smoke. The teams have been doing this more and more, because you see mostly the standard play would be to smoke out, get a ward. You know, that's the pretty much norm nowadays, but we see a couple of teams starting to switch around, trying for smoke, like 5-man smokes or 4-man smokes, trying to get first blood instead of using the smoke to just place a ward. You smoke, you get a kill, and you place the ward after. So catching them off guard here.
So where do you want to see Nuts go on the Enchantress? He was the big focus of discussion in Game 1. Playing a slightly different jungler in the Ench, but still similar fundamental concept for the laning stage. Do you go into the enemy woods? Do you want to pressure the offlane this time? What is the ideal play for him?
I think because the Centaur is on the safe lane, right now they're switching lanes. They do not want... I guess they don't want the Luna to go against Darkseer. Or they were trying to avoid the Juggernaut lane because they saw the Darkseer at bottom. Yeah, previously Faceless saw the Darkseer bottom and they got the first blood, so they were kind of expecting Darkseer to be at bottom. They do not want a Luna to go against that lane, so right now because he's in the Juggernaut's lane, this is not good for them. They need the Enchantress to help out.
She's trying to as Nuts moves in, but Misery there can just easily arrow the creep.
Yeah,
and kill it off, and
that's a great point.
That's a big issue for the Enchantress. If she goes with the Mirana, is likely just going to lose her creeps.
That is actually something that I totally forgot about, because people don't pick Chen or Enchantress as much, but Mirana is an absolutely good counter against that.
So you have to stay away from the Mirana now, it feels like.
Black has to go top. Like, they need to move Black towards the safe lane. If the Enchantress can't really help out this lane at all, he needs to ditch. He needs to go top.
Yeah, he's a potential kill if he ever gets caught by a disruption. There won't be a good save.
He's going top now. And Ice. Wow.
Big solo kill there for Ice. And then the TP home. So nice fountain trip for him. Good timing for Black to rotate.
Oh my god, that
is huge.
Such a good transition by Darrow there on the center. They knew they had to switch the lanes, but he went for the kill, trying to, at least when they're switching a lane, get a kill. That's what you want to happen when you're switching lanes. You do not want to just switch lanes and move around, waste your TP.
Meanwhile, mid lane, Weeha getting pressure, but unfortunately jabs. He eats the arrow under tower.
Oh my god.
Misery with the drive-by. It would have been a likely kill on Weeha otherwise, but the savvy veteran in position, and now Weeha sticks around. He'll salve right up.
This is
and
what
the sniper goes down.
This is what you see from Misery a lot. He's always at the right place at the right time as a support. Like, that is one of his biggest traits as a support player. Always there when his team needs him.
And Winter, they don't have any wards to help him out here mid, unfortunately. Where generally against a Mirana, against Spirit Breaker, we often see one, if not two wards, especially for a squishier hero like the sniper. He doesn't have any vision to help him. So.
And Enchantress is all the way down right now, and Misery sees the creep. He's going to try to arrow the creep. Gets the creep.
The problem is it's not that easy to juke with the creeps because they're relatively slow.
Well, if Enchantress has like 2 creeps, so he wouldn't mind too much about that.
Top lane, another takedown though. Moon getting punished here. That's some much needed experience to Black and XY.
This is really going bad for Moon on the dark, so he might want to go for the jungle camps. So.
Yeah, he did grab the early boots though. Not your ideal build if he wants to go.
Oh, you see
so you can see Weeha didn't have a whole lot of vision to work with. The arrow comes through and will end up going down.
Still a very, very good move there by Misery, anticipating. Like, he's always around the jungle, so when he sees the enemy mid laner trying to kill his mid laner, he moves in, gets an arrow. Just good anticipation, good movements around the map.
So Nuts, level 2.
It's going back to the bottom
and a half. He's going to come bottom again, and look who's
Misery.
there. Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Oh, no.
He doesn't even care about the end. She's just eat the creep. Nuts is just feeding Misery straight up at this point. Already almost level 3.5, a full level up. And meanwhile, in the bottom lane, there's some pressure on Ice. The spin comes through.
He's fine.
From Resolution. He will survive, but he's getting bullied a little bit here. And there's a Soul Catcher ready.
I mean, Nuts really wants to avoid Misery at all costs. He wants to be able to gank the lane that the Mirana is not guarding at the moment. This is not ideal for the Enchantress.
If you come mid, though, there's a decent chance Mirana's going to be there, and I don't know if they need him top. Moon Meander's been relatively well
in the
dealt
lane.
with.
If he tries, at least if he tries to make a move top, there's a better chance of them getting something done rather than moving to the Mirana's area. Like right now, the mid lane and the bottom lane is Misery's territory. He's going to be always constantly making sure that the Enchantress doesn't create any sort of pressure on those 2 lanes.
Resolution continuing to
Do they have a smoke?
harass Ice here.
They might bring the Rubik this time. Oh, that's a ward there. All right. So
the struggle continues for poor Nuts.
They might be able to get a gank top though if they move back towards top.
Not with that scan, I would think. The
look at Moon
staying far up. He really expects this gank to go on mid, and
I mean that's the right play for Faceless.
You can just see Misery just waiting for the gank.
Just sending his illusions, and he's just doing the right play as a 4-row support, playing against a Chen / Enchantress, a jungling hero that wants to gank. You should always anticipate his movement and try to break the smoke. Once again, that brilliant play by DC, having that vision to set up the information that they needed, and moving the supports right away to break the smoke. Just good play all in all.
Little love tap there for XY as Ice will deny himself to the neutrals.
He has his Tranquils.
Has his Tranquils now.
So at least he's going to be able to stay in the lane much better right now. But still, Juggernaut lane is not an easy lane for an off-laner to survive on. He has to be very careful with all the moves. Misery trying to set up from behind to land an arrow, but Weeha still not back in the lane, so probably has to wait for Weeha to walk himself back into the lane. He does have his ultimate up.
Meanwhile, bottom lane, they are also prepping here with a disruption. Ice is going to tank the spin. Soul Catcher was committed. It will drop him low. Not enough for the kill, and now Resolution getting slightly blocked. well back away. Meanwhile, Misery, as you mentioned, is hounding jabs in the woods. Not particularly afraid. He is going to run into Nuts. Nuts this time has a decent-sized army. Troll Trap to start. He's going to leap up to the high ground. Assassinate coming through. And that will be enough for the kill. The Pew Pew does its work. And finally, they get something going against Misery.
Well, this time their laning phase has gone much
Bottom
better compared.
lane, Ice. He went for the stomp, but Resolution quick on the draw with the Blade Fury. The stick, and doesn't matter. Resolution with the phase boots has that extra bit of damage. Finds the kill anyway. Make it 4-2, but with that exchange killing off Misery, experience going much more favorably now for Faceless.
So at least compared to the last game, the laning phase has gone much better this time.
How do you see them transitioning? Because the one guy that really is looking to set the tempo here in the mid game is the Centaur. Ice, he did find the kill, but Winter, he's not farming very well. 13 CS, it's going to be a slow blink.
Yeah, that is definitely not good. Like if you compare it to someone like Arrow, not going to land on XY there. He was trying to, you know, do support things, place a deep ward, but Misery there to foil his intentions. But Centaur definitely not like Slardar. You don't have that sprint. I mean, you're going to have access to that Stampede at least at level 6, but he doesn't really set up a lot of kills like a Slardar pre-blink, you know. Slardar pre-blink still is able to get a lot of work done for your team. But right now, we see this again from DC. Remember the last game when Luna had his ultimate up, they made a smoke play, they made a rotation to pressure towers, and right now this time on the Juggernaut Resolution, again making the same movement towards the enemy side of the map. He doesn't just sit in his lane and farm, and he's always looking to use his spells, especially his Omni Slash right now. He wants to put it on cooldown.
Ice is chasing bottom. Sock's already committed disruption. He has Stampede. He could die for this.
He has no TP, so if Juggernaut comes here, he's going to be able to get the kill.
Oh, he has Stampede, but already Jug closing the gap, has the Mango for the Omni Slash. He Stampedes out. Resolution phase boots, and Ice continues to wind through the trees. Misery could cut him off, but XY's there, ready with the lift. They're going to be able to bring the Mirana down. That also saves Ice, who might have gotten clipped by an arrow on the way out.
Oh my god, that was...
good mirror movements.
That was actually such a good play by Ice, understanding how much time he exactly has before his supports arrive. 1 more second delayed that, he might have actually gone down to that Omni Slash plus Blade Fury.
Just able to get to the trees.
He's just one of those few offlaners. You know, you interview all the carry players here at the event. Everyone will tell you they hate to play against Ice offlane.
And he's not like that. He is obviously he's a great offlaner, but he's like the kind that likes to push it to the limit. You know, see just how much he can get.
The most annoying offlaner, they would tell you.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't work out, but you know, he's not like Universe where he plays it very safe generally. Daryl much more of the aggressive, eke every little bit of farm and go for the kills where you can.
They are both very similar. DC's offlaner, Moon and Daryl.
Yes, Moon is much more similar.
A lot average deaths than compared to Universe, but they get a lot more done when they have a good game. So Black right now makes his
jabs and a little bit of trouble here in the mid lane. Disruption's going to come through. They can follow this up with the Weehaw stun. They do have a breathe fire, and that soul catcher damage easily gets dealt with.
That arrow, he got blocked as well by the illusions there, so he couldn't really run down towards the river, unable to juke off the arrow. And here comes again Ice trying to creep skip and allow Black to secure the tower for his team.
Ice very low in the bottom lane, really just begging Moon to come at him. It's like, guys, we can kill him, but he's got some backup. They're still pressuring mid though. Double damage rune was up on Weehaw for that first kill on the sniper, and now they're going to take the tower as well.
Oh no, this is really good for DC.
It's actually a double tower grab. They also get top.
They moved so quickly once they saw Black, because they had a lane ward. They saw Black TPing to the bottom lane, so immediately they moved Resolution towards the top lane. They did not want to take that fight. They managed to use the DK in the mid lane to secure the tower as well. So once again, DC's short calling, amazing.
All 3 of their cores farming well. Nuts has not had the explosive impact. They're losing the tower war early, despite a great individual effort by Ice to find the solo kill. DC have just weathered that storm, and they're now back out in front. Down kills, but up gold, up experience. Feeling very comfortable going into the mid-game. And so looking towards that mid-game, Winter, how do you feel the teams will match up here?
If Centaur doesn't get a timely blink, I think Faceless will struggle. But if Centaur gets a good blink, I think it's going to come down to who makes the first move, who gets the better initiation, who gets the jump.
Did stop off for the Iron Talon, has the point in return now.
Well, the other thing we might actually see being a crucial part in team fights is Darkseer is going to be able to build the mech on his team, whereas for Faceless, the center, obviously, you can't get the mech for your team. So that might be a difference maker in the mid game, having a mech and against a team who does not have a mech.
Well, Moon playing very cautiously here bottom. As Ice was thinking about a flank, but it's some time he's not spending farming towards that blink. He'll back off to the jungle now, hanging around, but again, he's not hitting creeps.
DC is also saving up a lot of gold on Dragonite, so Weeha might consider an early dagger as well. That will give them a lot of initiative.
Saksa, he's in position here to set up an Ice. They're going to disrupt instantly. Starfall comes through, but not timed correctly. The arrow hitting the creep, and then he's going to stampede. He wants to run forward. Stomp is there. Has the double edge. Ice playing very aggressively, but this might give DC round 2.
Taunting them as well.
Just toying with his food.
I mean, there was no way they got that kill after the Starstorm actually missed on Misery. Maybe a bit of a miscommunication there from the two supports, but regardless, that was an opportunity missed for DC. But overall, they're still farming really well. You see what Resolution is doing here on the enemy safe lane. Like, because Juggernaut has that innate survivability with the spin TP, you can actually do this, but the Luna can't really push the lane, far out. You have to take the safer routes to farm. So what Resolution is doing right now, he's not only farming, but he's also creating a lot of room for the rest of his team to, to farm.
And they're taking advantage of it on the bottom lane. And now a blink is grabbed by Weeha.
This is going to be very, very crucial for their initiation because Darkseer does not want to get an early dagger. You want to get a mech on Darkseer. So with the mech coming online, he's very, very close to completing that and being having that dagger on Weeha. So it's going to give DC a lot of good team fight right now with the mech plus blink coming online.
Tower down, and without a blink on Ice, how do you fight into this Winter?
How close is he to the dagger? Well, he's
not very close.
Oh, this is not good for them.
He's been spending a lot of time just sitting in the jungle, like threatening for ganks.
I mean, you kind of
backing up his Luna, but as a result, not farming.
You kind of have to hope for Rubik to start the fights, I guess, with his telekinesis. But that's not reliable at all, That's not what you want. You want the Centaur to go in, make a first move, so Rubik has time to stay back, decide on what spell you want to steal, and go in for the lift after. So things are not looking too good without the dagger right now for Faceless. They desperately need the dagger on Daryl here. They need to get that ASAP, whereas the rest of the items on the Sniper and Luna is not going to make such a huge difference right now for them.
If they can find the dagger, find some kills. They do have decent push behind it from the Luna, the Ench creeps.
Whereas for DC, look at them, they're just ready to make moves right now. They're very active around the map because they don't feel the need to, to wait for any item. They already have the dagger plus mech.
XY
gets the
cheeky
spin.
Little steal.
But right now, everything is online for DC. They have the dagger. And, the mech is still in the base, so wouldn't have that for the fight. But once again, DC are a team that understands their timings very well, their windows very well. They understand that the enemy is waiting on the Centaur's dagger. They're not ready to fight, so we are going to take the fight to them.
Are they going to try to make a move on Resolution? If they could get off a lift here, going to at least bully him back.
It's going to be difficult for the Rubik to lift the Juggernaut, to be honest.
Especially when there's a ward in the area, so he knows he'll back away. And
just look at Resolution again. He knows that the team is able to force powers, and he's just making sure that he's farming efficiently around the map, and he's trying to get the kill on that
Ice into the trees. In fact, he's hunting. Stomp comes out. He baits Resolution. Now tries to survive. No, he runs back into the Blade Fury. Ice getting too cute.
Okay, that
will be punished.
That is the one moment that you wish that he wasn't that aggressive. Like Universe would have just
he was so
stampede and get out.
He was so close to his blink. Now he's down to 1,500 gold.
He was trying to basically bait the Juggernaut to try and kill him, so his team could have came in for the return kill. But TP reactions here from Faceless. But without the Centaur, they kind of don't have really good ways of initiating the fight. That was a very, very big loss for Daryl. I mean, you could see what he was trying to do, trying to get as much as he can from the position, but ultimately paying a very, very heavy price, losing that timing on the blink.
And they don't have a Dragon Knight Midwinter. They don't have a hero that can take over in the tempo control role. Sniper is not going to be starting the fights, and if he does, he's probably dying.
But on the bright side of things, Sniper and Luna does offer your team a whole lot amount of big physical plus spell damage in team fights if you can actually get a proper initiation. And if you look at DC, I don't think they have as much damage in terms of their 2 cores, but they do have an offlaner, Darkseer, which the longer the game progresses, he's going to get better illusions of your heroes. But right now, the Sniper and Luna are going to be able to do a good amount of damage if Faceless are able to get a first move on. But Misery here going to scout out XY.
XY's Blade Fury, though, very tough to kill.
Yeah,
Rubik if he has quick reactions against the arrow.
One of the best spells he has this game, apart from like the Omni, like even the Vacuum or the Spin would be nice for the Rubik here. But as of right now,
Disruption always great.
Yeah, as of right now, Faceless are just still desperately waiting for Ice to get his dagger. He's very close now, but DC looking to pressure and looking to use this time where Centaur does not have Blink.
And what do you know? Another DD rune for Weehaw. He's got the Elder Dragon form ready. DC ramping back on towards mid. They might try to go for the lower hanging fruit here, the tier 2.
Yeah, their lanes. They need to take care of their lanes. Their lanes are not looking good. All of their lanes are pushing.
And they don't have Moon, so going high ground without your mech bearer, your big team fight specialist, not ideal.
Yep, this game you probably want the Darkseer to get all the team fight, survivability items. You get the pipe, even the Crimson Guard would be good choices here against the Sniper. All those items would negate a majority of the damage coming up from Faceless since they have the Blink on the Dragon Knight. The Darkseer is not so needed.
Is this going to be the big Blink reveal? Ice smoked up.
Can he get a big
jump?
stomp?
But he's got to find, ideally, Soxa, or at least multiple heroes. There's the stop to start with the Disruption. Counter-initiate. Now the Omni Slash dragging Resolution back as they retreat out. XY already used the spell steal. He does have his own Disruption available. Oh, the Eclipse from Black committed earlier. They get the Dragon Knight kill. Now they look for the turn. Try to bring down Resolution. Very low. Will end up falling to the Imp. Moon Meander a bit late to the party, so it ends up being a 2-for-3 exchange. And they do have a stolen Disruption. It's going to be a 2-for-4. Nuts just left alone in that fight. The Stampede dragging Juggernaut very far away from his team, and it didn't look like the best initiation as the Disruption did counter that stomp, but Faceless still able to come out on top.
Well, like I said, it didn't really matter so much because they had a lot of damage. Luna and Sniper were dealing insane amount of damage at the backlines, even though the stun was sort of negated by the Disrupt, but they still had enough in the tank. And not to mention Enchantress, she was dealing a huge part of the damage with in the team fights. So all those things considered, even if you lose the Centaur, as long as he gets the stun, he forces the fight to happen.
And they focus him instead of going for the Sniper or the Luna.
The other heroes will just lay down.
Or the Enchantress.
Lay down the damage onto them. And the other crucial part about DC's team fight is still missing. Darkseer does not have any points in the wall yet, and he does not have his max points in the Vacuum, so they have to give Moon Meander some time to get his levels. It's extremely crucial as an offlaner when you're Darkseer to get those levels on your spells.
Well, Faceless do have a small little Ancient stack here, XY. Just have the Disruption available.
Small little Ancient stacks. Like 2 stacks. Not that small. But you wish you had more, as the Luna. But
you always want more. And now they're going to have an army of illusions if they want it.
You're the carry player. Stack for me, guys. When they're playing the Luna, you always tell your
Would
team.
you prefer carry player who doesn't want to farm stacks?
No, of course not. But I prefer, you leave the stacks to me if I'm the Tide Hunter.
Well, Ice not playing that more greedy farming offlaner. He is just constantly...
You say that, but as the Centaur, you want to get to your Ags, You really want to get to your Ags.
Well, it's actually something you brought up in the draft, Winter, and since we have a little lull here, I'd love for you to expand more on it. That nowadays, you feel like teams are drafting more for the items that heroes can build and less like for the hero's abilities in a vacuum.
Yes, sometimes you pick the hero not because the hero is extremely good. Like, for example, in this game, Aslada would have offered a lot more in the early game, but the reason that they picked the Centaur is because you have that Aghanim's build out on the Centaur to negate the Juggernaut damage, the double Starstorm if the Mirana gets to the axe, timing. It's just a very good build-up for the hero. So I think sometimes teams tend to value that a lot. That hero has a very good build-up against what the enemy composition has, instead of, that hero is going to do well in certain parts of the game.
But it's a big item. It's not that easy to farm if you're constantly hiding in the trees and going for pickoffs.
He has Iron Talon, that's...
But he hasn't been using it. Like he has been, but it's mostly to eat trees and worm his way, kind of through them to find pickoffs.
It gives you that ability to, get to that Aegis point. Some offlaners, I think, would get a Midas on, like, for example, a Slada or Clockwork. You see a lot of Midas on those offlaners or a Nyx to catch up. But for Centaur, I think, I've not seen anyone get a Midas, but Iron Talon is a good way of getting to it. You want to get to your Aghanim, so it's really, really crucial. Just like a Nyx Ag, it's game-changing.
DC made a move here into the Dire Jungle. Not having that overwhelming advantage they did in game number 1, though. It's a slight lead for them.
They have the dagger plus the wall on the Darkseer now, so they have all their tools for the team fight.
And they do have the ability to siege with Disruption Illusions. Also, the Manta picked up on Resolution. And 2,100 gold in the bank, so they'll hack down that tier 2. Second to last outer tower brought down. Still 5 left standing for DC. Very healthy outer periphery of buildings here.
But team fight wise, they still have to be very careful about the Luna and the sniper. They need a gap closer. They need someone to, you know, get to the back lines, kill the sniper especially. He's just outputting so much damage.
So they do have Surge into Blink Stun from Weehaw.
I like the dagger though on Resolution. Like,
and you also have Moonlight Shadow now, and Faceless, no gem, only a single pack of dust on XY.
Oh, talk about Midas.
All right.
Misery, one of the, I think he's one of the supports that likes the Midas a lot, especially on his CMs, on a lot of his supports.
He popularized Midas Gaming way back in, I think it was LGD International, right?
Oh, back when you were younger, Gorman. Back when you were younger.
Hey, are you calling me old?
You're more mature now.
You're the married man.
But going by numbers, you're still the older man, sorry.
But I'm young at heart.
Fine, whatever. Like for
you're a crabby old man at heart.
For DC right now, they're still looking to, you know, force fights. They feel like they're more ready with the dagger pickup on Resolution. They have the necessary tools to, you know, get to that back line, get the Omni Slash onto the sniper. That's what you want as the Juggernaut this game. You want to kill him right away before the sniper lays down too much damage in the team fights, whereas you leave the rest for the Darkseer and the Dragon Knight to take care.
And look at the way they're sieging. They put Resolution in front, has the Shadow Demon parked behind him in the trees. With the Manta, the Blink, and the Shadow Demon, it is very tough to jump this Jug.
At the same time, they want to set up for a top defense as well. Misery TPs himself back to his top lane. You see their movements, they are always very, very good at...
And even scanning ahead, they are just so ready for that counter push.
They take a tower, they defend their own tower, and they have a hero always ready, you know, set up a fight to
could
defend.
They find Resolution here? They do have vision of him, but Weehaw's right in the neighborhood. They're gonna Moonlight Shadow, Ice, in position on the high ground. But
they want to fight this. They see Misery at top previously.
They have a sentry. They're going to plant it and just hope that DC comes in range. There's a sentry from both
Faceless
avenues.
has the numbers here.
Jabs could get caught though. There's the stop to start. They do get Weehaw. Initiation is there. The disruption comes through. A bit too late though. It looks like should be going down. One more plink for Mr. Ho Ho Ha Ha. He will fall.
Yep. DC was
push over, folks.
DC were not ready for that. They did not know that Faceless have the vision there. So Faceless with the numbers advantage were able to overpower DC in that fight. I mean, nevertheless, DC is still in pretty good shape after getting all the towers.
But into the pit.
Can they defend this? They have a vision here, so they see FL going into the Roche pit.
Resolution.
They don't have enough heroes. They don't have enough heroes here. Misery TP'd back to base, and with the Dragon Knight down, there's only 3 heroes here.
But Faceless are scared. They don't want to go in.
They don't have the quickest Roche lineup right now. They don't have minus armor.
Yeah, they can do it safely with the Enchantress to tank level 4 untouchable.
Yeah,
but as you mentioned, it's slow.
It's gonna take a long time. So
instead, they will smoke.
Can they get a pick off here? A good pick-off would be like on someone like the Darkseer, your team fight specialist. If you're able to remove that, then you can maybe go for the Roche.
The line is drawn. They're going to swing around on Soxa. Actually, still a pretty big part of the team fight. There's the stop. Double edge follow-up. They get the kill. They steal the level 1 Shadow Poison.
Rubik was dying to get disruption.
Sad XY.
Gosh, I mean, it's good to have a point on Poison. You know, a lot of players right now, they go for the max Soul Catcher and Disrupt. And against a Rubik, you want to have a point.
It used to be like the max Shadow Poison would be the dream spell to steal.
Yeah, but this game, you want to have a point in the Poison so that Rubik doesn't get that easy steal. I mean, it's a big deal, you know, this game. They have Luna.
So we're going to see a pretty early gem grab by Misery. Midas already
able
to fuel that purchase.
That's like a good reaction as a captain. The last minute or so, you feel like something is wrong. Why are our moves not working? It's either they anticipated our moves or they see us, so he gets a gem right away after that. He wants to deward. That's just something a captain would do. Guys, I'm going to get a gem. Make sure that they don't do that anymore.
And the beautiful thing is he can easily afford it.
Dude, he was right. There was a ward there when they smoked, so he was actually right about that.
And DC... Now the Greaves up a Moon Meander, Blink as well. We saw that picked up earlier. So they do continue to farm Winter, even though it feels like Faceless getting a little bit more of their footing. They are down on net worth. They're only slightly ahead in experience. Big item still coming out for Digital Chaos. BKB nearly complete for Weehaw. We could see Misery transition back into the Ags as the game gets a bit later. And then, of course, Resolution farming very well with Manta, Blink already complete, and now a Maelstrom too.
Talking about Ags, you know, Faceless have 3 great heroes to get Ags on. So it's not only DC that has the Ags built out on their heroes.
Are they going to farm them is the question.
Well, he's trying, dude. He's halfway there. He has a point booster and he has 1,000 gold. Come on. He's going to try his very best to get there. He's going to have a big part to play in the game.
Sometimes, Winter, your very best is not good enough.
Yeah, sometimes, but you're still, you're still going to try. You're going to try to get to that point. And you have Sniper plus Luna. You have very good defense on the high ground. And you have Rubik to spam out the waves. So
What is that old saying? A wise creature once said, do or do not, no try. There is no try.
But if you don't try, you have already failed. So you must always try first.
All right, well, DC, they're certainly trying now. An aggressive smoke forward. Resolution.
They're always like looking to fight right now, whereas for Faceless, they are much more contented because of their composition. They have a very, very good composition for the late game, so they're happy. And you have Black on the team. He's always going to be comfortable, trying to farm and get more items, not wanting to fight so much. So for DC, they are just trying to control the map more. They have the jump, so they're moving around with the Mirana to make sure that they deward all the vision.
They see Black mid, but there is a big trap being laid here with XY in reserve behind him. The whole team in the neighborhood.
The ward is going to see Moon. He's going to know now.
We'll back away. Had the invis rune.
It's going to tell, hey, Jam Carrier, come over. There's a sentry.
They're going to back off.
But right now...
Hey, it's time for Ice Ice Ice. Suddenly another 1,000 gold. All right. Starting to get closer to the Ags.
I told you to believe him. He's going to get his Ags this game.
You're biased.
Oh, fine. He's going to get his Ags this game. And there's one last
You're like willing him into the Ags. Now, to be fair, it is one of the very strongest Ags in the game if used properly with the insane damage reduction.
I think Omni Slash and the double Starstorm from Mirana when she has Ags. They're going to use Moonlight, try to find a move here. Is there a sentry in the lane? That is the question.
They've been so disciplined. They have one on the hill. DC trying to go for a bit of a D-ward. They're going to blink in, initiate the fight. It's on the Rubik. BKB committed. The Golden Dragon brings them down, and now they chase forward looking for more. It's only a Rubik. They committed a 10-second BKB for that solitary kill.
To be fair, Gorman, that was actually worth it for Faceless losing the support for that BKB charge. They are not going to be able to pressure because the bottom lane is pushed out. And look at top lane is pushed out as well. DC needs to take
Tier
care of
1,
lanes.
will they finally get it? The triple rage creep just slowly plinking away at the structures here.
They're going for the Roche here though. Let's see if Faceless decides
But without
to
the BKB, would they consider a fight? The Moon has great position here to break a smoke.
Faceless is not moving the Luna over to fight though. It seems like they're not.
They're thinking about it. Ice 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 coming in, Japs coming in, and Moon
Luna's not there though.
Looking for the intel. And Resolution's gonna jump. There's the quick initiation. Omni coming through. And in a hail of destruction, DC slaughter them.
What is
Faceless
going
are
on?
not on the same page, and that was a huge gimme.
What is going on there with the team? Like they were not on the same page for sure. And another pickup here because
Just like that. Just 3 free kills.
Gosh,
just
that was
forfeited. Absolutely avoidable.
It seems like the two players, the Sniper and the Centaur, were like wanting to fight the Roche, but Black didn't seem interested to take that fight. Now they're going to force a buyback onto Jabs on the Sniper. That is very, very detrimental to their item progression.
And they even buy back on Jabs just to hold the tower. That is extremely
Look at this play
painful.
here. Moon Meander.
Yeah, really good position. Even if they did try to smoke, he would have been able to break it. The arrow comes in. Then they're like, should we go in? Should we not? They're still hesitating. You can see Ice 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 just milling back and forth.
You know why he was hesitating? His carry was not making his move away over to the Roche pit. That's why he was hesitating.
You've got to imagine either there wasn't enough talking or there was too much disagreement in the war room there for Faceless.
Either way, that is not a good sign at all. When you make a decision, you have to be quick. It's either you go in and die together or you don't go in at all. But they were split up, they got caught, and that was really not a good showing from Faceless. And the Aghanims, the crucial item on Centaur, is going to be delayed once again because of that death. And right now, Resolution on the Juggernaut, more than ready to take the high ground here with all his items completed. The Mjolnir, the Dagger, the Manta. They want to get the lanes push out and siege the base. That's what DC wants right now. They have already removed almost all the wards from the Faceless map. No vision means very difficult to split push for them. And they're going to be forced to defend with the Shrapnel.
Oh, now Black wants to fight.
He has his BKB.
Has the BKB. Is going to scout out Moon Meander here. Trying to harass him a bit with the Glaze, but there will be the Greaves retreat. If he had eclipsed immediately, maybe could have gotten the kill. But
still, you know,
it's a risk.
It's very iffy there. He did not have any, setup from the Centaur or the Rubik. So you do not want to blow a big cooldown on something that's uncertain. But right now, DC, they're just trying to get their lanes pushed out. And Darkseer is, he's going to move to his team right now. So they're going to siege the high ground at
DC, while Faceless hesitate, they're decisive. Resolution moves on to top, has the Aegis, completed Mjolnir, hacking away at the tower, quickly bringing it low, they're going to lift him, and then try to chip at him. Jabs, not going to rev up the Assassinate, they go for the stomp, but Resolution ready with the Blade Fury. Could have been an easy Aegis pop otherwise.
Yep, you don't really want to waste the Aegis. Like you want to force the enemy to use a big cooldown on you and you die. But you don't want to give away like a kill with
it's such a safe siege for DC though. They've got the Jug out in front, and again the positioning. Look at Soxa so far back.
She can always spin and hit the towers.
And he has Aegis, and he has Manta. Lots of escape plans for Resolution, who is about to bring this tower down. Is starting to drop a bit to the Imps. Decent damage done. Assassinate with the Fade Bolt. No, the disruption. No siree, they say, and now the Stampede committed. They're going to try to jump on a Weehaw. BKB available, but he gets lifted. Good control here. DC unable to get the finish. Faceless Ars. Weehaw survives with the BKB. Black going to commit the Eclipse, but his own illusion being turned against him. Nearly dead to that as Weehaw surges in. Can't quite get in range. Has to back away, and they look for the chase.
Omni.
They're so low.
Rubik has Omni.
They could make big plays here. The impetus damage. There's the surge. Can they get in range? The arrow could slam the door. Ice with the stop. Set up on the moon. Can they finish the job? Not quite yet. And no, that's not enough for now. DC able to easily stagger the retreat, walk away safely. Great communication. Where Faceless feel like they're not on the same page, DC feel like it's one player controlling all 5 heroes at times. Just so coordinated. Blake stun, arrow follow, backs there as well. Then the disrupt. They're going to prep for round 2. This gives the Dragon Tail a chance to cool down. Black all the way back to the well. Doesn't even make it. Resolution diving him into the fountain. Slaughtering the cat therein.
That's got to be their last draw.
And that's Elena Vrax.
That's got to be their last draw there for Faceless.
And this looks like the end, Winter. It's going to be an early exit for them from the Boston Major unless a miracle can pop out.
That was their last straw. They used 2 of their buybacks there, and right now with no buybacks remaining, Faceless, gonna struggle.
Still no Centaur eggs, no big items to turn this one around. Few buildings remain. Digital Chaos, contrary to their name, looking like a unified squad here. And
Faceless are the ones that look chaotic this game.
And not good chaotic either. This is indecisive chaotic. It's like when MVP was at their best, they would play chaotically, but it was organized chaos. They would run at you, they would force your team into disarray, and they would punish. Looking back to like the Manila Major, the Shanghai Major. Not the case here for Faceless. Mega creeps now. The end is nigh. They can wait, but they will be going home.
Ice just casually farming the enemy jungle.
A few last moments here on the stage for him.
I want to get my axe.
Black did say in that recent interview he did that he doesn't expect them to disband even with an early exit here, but that's often said. We'll have to see if that's how it turns out. Weehaw just trying to force them out of the game, diving them extremely far towards the fountain. One last stand. They want to loosen beam. Moomiander not going to allow it. He gets up the back the wall as well. Up on the high ground, he will fall. They do even find that Dragon Knight kill. DC, all right, well, if you want to play that game, we will just let the creeps kill you.
It was still a heavy price to pay, for that 3 kills, losing your whole base. So, okay. Mega Creep defense, what do they have? They have Luna.
They have Luna, one of the better heroes against Megas.
They have Return on Centaur. Oh, arrow.
All right, 80-minute comeback. Here we come.
So, against Mega Creeps, you want to have a Blast. You want to have I think one of the strats MVP did against the Mega Creep was they had multiple Helm of Dominators and they dominated the army and they surrounded the throne with the army. That's how they held. So those are the ways where you can defend against a Mega Creep and get Maelstrom. They already have a Maelstrom on. Sniper, other heroes not exactly good candidates for that.
If you're DC, you're just saying, we're not letting them farm all these items and take it 80 minutes. We're just going to run down mid. You can see the line drawn immediately by Moon. He's probably a little baffled that they're still sticking around, but he is going to try and end this one ASAP.
I mean, it's their last game, so
they're
going to defend to the bitter end.
There is a stolen wall on the Rubik right now, level 2, XY. Could be a big pickup. Most importantly, the Centaur Axe is online. But that is, as strong as it is, the timing on the Stampede has to be right. And it's also their most important way to
the Omni Slash, I think.
Initiate.
He needs to time it with the Omni Slash.
That would be the ideal scenario. DC marching down mid. They could wait for that next Roche if they really want to slow roll it. But they're going to finish off the buffer buildings here. Just a few huts remain in the shambles that is the Faceless base. They can chip with illusions. The glaives start to ramp up. Luna being turned against Faceless now. And Misery just fencing around, has the Ags, has the Blink, so they've got a 4th core coming online should this go later. Well out farming Ice at this point. And creeps continue to march in. At some point, Faceless are going to have to make their move. Buildings being brought low, finished off Resolution, 1 tier 4 down, 1 to go. And Misery just plink, plink, plink. Slow but sure progress being done as Weehaw finds the opening and straight onto Ice. Back wall and destruction ensues. Jabs and Black both in danger. Mauled into submission as DC ended. A final dagger into the heart of Faceless fans everywhere. It will be an early exit from them, and they'll have to go back to the drawing board for their next event.
Maybe be on the same page for the next event as well. There were clearly many bad decisions made by Faceless. They weren't on the same page as a team, whereas DC were clearly, having the better shot calling, very clear about what they wanted to do and when they wanted to do it and who was going to move.
And it really brings to mind that old saying that a good strategy violently executed today is better than the perfect strategy executed tomorrow. This was a case where even if they didn't have a perfect idea, if they at least do it together, maybe they have a better chance, but they were not on the same page.
They were totally not on the same page. Black felt like, oh, I wanted to get my BKB. I'm not ready to fight. And the other 2 guys were like running to the roach pit. That was like the classic Carry moment when Carry feels like he's not ready to fight and the whole team wants to fight there.
And we don't get to listen in on the players, unfortunately, but you could basically hear the conversation. That's how clear the movements were on the game. And Winter, with that DC, how far do you think this team can go? Can they take the whole event? They look damn scary to me.
Yeah, all the way. I think if they play really well, they can take this all the way.
Well, Alex,
we'll see.
Digital Chaos, the favorites, they deliver here.
Yes, indeed. A beautiful way to summarize it. I feel like there's only so many times we can say not on the same page, but there is no other better way to describe what we saw from Faceless, right?
I'm running out of alternative
I was brainstorming. I was like,
okay,
I'm going to give LD something.
To their captains.
There, exactly. Not listening to their captains, but DC all the way, Winter, giving them that's strong words, fighting talk.
Yeah, they showed like world-class performance. Their decision-making, itemization, they were all really good. They understood their timings. They used their timings very well. What's more there to add, about this team? Yeah,
some real solid synergy, and I'm going to hopefully have some of that with the guys on the desk. Thank you very much, Winter and LD, our first series of the day done and dusted. To walk through it, though, I've got myself, Fogs, Shiva, and Empyrean Flax, and I'm your host, Alex Machine Richardson. Okay, let's think about this. Let's not say at any point, not on the same page, but they didn't look as the unit we were anticipating from Faceless. They have ended and left the Boston Major 0-6. Not a single game win here in their performance over in Boston. And quite the contrast for DC, who are going to continue on a 6-0 undefeated spree. Ted.
I spoke to Blitz in the break, and he said he wants teams to keep underrating DC. Like, I don't think anyone was saying that they were no good, but people have been talking about VP and maybe even EG. So he asked me to call this the miracle on ice. Like, they somehow beat Faceless. DC, these underdogs, they managed to come from behind and all the rest of it. But yeah, they looked really good. Faceless just, the first game, I think the draft was not great with the Chen. And the second game, I think it worked out better at times. But overall, DC just too good.
Well, when you're talking about the draft, I mean, all our eyes locked on you, Fogged. Again, another Shadow Demon victory, but also the Enchantress that you had very little explanation for. Could you